Live from English Stadium in Altavista, Virginia. It's time once again for Colonels football. The Altavista Colonels on 105.5 KD Country. I am Kyle Haney. Here with me again is my not-so-esteemed colleague, Mr. Oscar Briggs, Agent Zero. And Oscar, much like last Friday, we got a little rain in the forecast, overcast skies, but I don't think it's going to affect too much on the gridiron tonight.
No, decent downpour earlier today in Altavista, and talking to the Dan River coaching staff, they said it rained pretty hard in Dan River, thunder and lightning. They were even alarmed enough that they didn't think we would get to play. Dry all the way here, and again, we did have a little bit of rain here this afternoon, but was down on the track, on the football field earlier. It's in great shape.
It is really in very good shape. They're calling for about 3 inches of rain between now and next Wednesday, so come time for the JV football game next Thursday, it might not be in such great shape. But tonight, I think footing is not going to be an issue. What is going to be an issue? The Dan River Wildcats, a very good football team coming into town at 4-2. And Oscar, this has been a rivalry, and I'm going to call it a rivalry because in recent years, last 4 or 5 years, these two teams have really done a lot of back and forth, and sometimes the score margins aren't very close, but that doesn't mean these aren't competitive games. You think back to last year, that 30-0 win for Altavista, that was big, and it was a big turning point for them in the season, too, coming off the Gretna loss last year.
Well, it absolutely was, and you're right, this has developed into quite a little rivalry. Both of these teams the last 3, 4, 5 years, certainly since Dan River joined the district, have made runs in the state tournament and gone pretty deep. So, again, Dan River's a 2A school, Altavista's single A, but that doesn't diminish this rivalry at all. They both want to beat each other. Ton of athletes on both sides of the field historically, and certainly that plays out tonight as well.
Yeah, certainly, and both these schools have had obviously their fair shares of success on the basketball courts as well. Dan River, the 2A state champions last year. Altavista, of course, reigning and defending 1A state champions 2 years in a row. So certainly no shortage of quality athletes and quality ball players. And both teams have two very good head coaches as well. Farrell Edmonds over there for the Dan River Wildcats, of course, former NFL Pro Bowler, used to catch touchdown passes from Mr. Dan Marino. And I think the head man for the Altavista Colonels, well, he's no slouch himself, Mr. Mike Sharness. And we'll hear from Coach Sharness as the Subway pregame show continues. Subway, you can always eat fresh. 2 great locations in Altavista, Main Street, and then also in the Walmart on the Clarion Road. Got a chance to catch up with the aforementioned Coach Sharness. You'll hear it all right after this. Time out. Colonels, Wildcats, set to kick off in about 25 minutes on 105.5 KD Country.
For a storm door that offers style and convenience, come to English's Building Supply in Altavista for a Pella self-storing storm door. These doors feature screens that are always there when you need them, and Pella's self-storing storm doors are backed by Pella's lifetime storm door protection plan. Come by English's Building Supply. See the full line of Pella storm doors.
English's is your complete home center.
Get a $15 mail-in rebate during October.
Brother needs a pickup, sister wants a ride. Uncle needs a sports car to keep him satisfied. Mama, she wants comfort, luxury and style. And Daddy, he just wants a deal that's gonna make him smile. Everybody's happy, you can hear them all say, we're glad we went to Feller's Chevrolet. Competition for all dealers in Central VA. A short drive will save you money. Feller's Chevrolet in Altavista.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch & Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
Back here on the Subway pregame show, Dan River Wildcats in town tonight to take on the Altavista Colonels, talking once again with the head coach, Mike Sharness. And Coach Sharness, last week, big win over your rival, the Gretna Hawks, 38-0. And to me, one of the standouts, not just last week but all year, has been your defense. Coach Revis, your defensive coordinator, seems like he's got a great game plan every night, and then the guys seem to execute it. I mean, you haven't given up more than 7 points in a game yet this year, and again, last week against Gretna, no exception. They played great.
Yeah, you're right, Kyle. Coach Revis does a great job with the game plan, and we've said this before on the show that the kids we have are able to execute the game plan, and the game plan can change from week to week. That's the beauty of it all, is that it really can change. We can move people around in different positions if we need to, and the kids really thrive on that. I think it's a challenge to them, and they like. The bottom line is they like to run and they like to hit. You know, they're a very aggressive group we got, and that's a good thing when you're a defensive player, and they got some football smarts to them. And yeah, we're playing some great defense and creating turnovers and just taking away teams' top plays and making them do some things that they're not comfortable with possibly.
Well, one guy that tends to take away those plays is your safety, Juan Thornhill. He's also great on offense, as we know. And I was going to ask you about the play last week. I say the play. He threw a touchdown. He ran a touchdown. He also caught a touchdown pass. This is a guy, you know, that I think people are predicting to be a defender on the next level. But, boy, on offense, he seems to have that uncanny ability just to see holes, and he understands angles, and he knows how to follow his blockers, and the speed doesn't hurt. I know you're not on the University of Virginia football staff, but you're probably the closest thing we got. Do you think he's got a chance to play some offense at the next level?
Yeah, I think he could. Yeah, I have no idea what UVA, what their intentions are. That, you know, it looks like it's defensive back, and but yeah, he's got some ability that he could probably play some wide receiver also, and yeah, we've got Donnie Montague jumping in at quarterback. We did that with 2 or 3 minutes left in the half, which is a tribute to Donovan. He hadn't played in the game yet, and we put him in a 2-minute offense, which is rush, and he did a good job before the half. We didn't capitalize with points. The play you're talking about was it was actually those two improvised that. Donnie got flushed out of the pocket. We had a play called, and Donnie checked out of it because the defensive back moved up real close on Juan, and Donovan got in a scramble mode, and Juan cut almost like a basketball cut to the basket there. He gave him a shuffle pass, and Juan did the rest, along with help, you know, blocking downfield. He's dangerous when he gets in that position.
Yeah, and something you and I just discussed off the air is the fact that, you know, those improvised plays, obviously you don't encourage them as a coaching staff, but I know sometimes on the sideline when those guys pull it off with their athleticism and playmaking ability, you just probably got to smile a little bit, right?
Yeah, you do. And when you have kids that can make plays, you which I never believed in, you draw some plays up in the dirt, which we did on that 2-minute offense before the half. I had a back shoulder fade, kind of a route that Donovan threw to Juan, which was incomplete before it was third down. We don't rep it. And I called it during the timeout just because I know the personnel that we have, and it was inches from being completed in a first down. So yeah, you have that luxury when you have that kind of skill that you're able to do those kind of things.
Well, a team with some quality skill players coming in tonight in the Dan River Wildcats. Seems like they've always got at least 1 or 2 Division I prospects on their team, and this year looks like no exception. Yeah,
they're year in and year out. Without the Edmonds brothers, before they came onto the scene, they were the same each year. Tall, athletic, fast, aggressive, and you just have to. They've handed to us a number of times, and we were fortunate last year coming off a loss to Gretna and playing great defensive game and winning the ball game. But we've had some struggles, and we've talked about it this week. Of us offensively, I think we've had some struggles moving the football consistently against them. So we're geared up for that offensively. We want to be more consistent on the offensive line and more consistent with our receivers and our blocking, and see if we can't take control of the game that way.
Well, a little bit of rain in the forecast tonight, but similar to last week, it doesn't look like it's going to change your game plan at all. We've talked about injuries some, and for the most part, you guys have been able to stay relatively injury-free, but you did mention you're a little banged up. How does maybe those little nagging injuries and just the fact that you want to keep guys protected, how does that first change your game plan during the week as far as practice, and then does it change your game plan at all tonight?
Yeah, it doesn't change the game plan too much for the ball game itself, but as far as getting consistency with practice, it's awful hard because we've had a number of guys that have missed practice, trying to rest up, heal up, and it takes away from, like I said, consistency, which you're trying to do offensively. More importantly, probably offensively, and you just hope it doesn't have an effect with what's going on Friday night. But everyone's pretty much, I don't know what it is like over at Dan River, but it's probably everyone's in the same boat. You have people that are out with injuries. You have people that don't practice, and they get practice the last day or two before the game, and they clear themselves to play. So it's pretty much what football is all about, and that's definitely where we are now. So we've got to have some guys ready to step up and play. Some defensive linemen we're looking at, and all across the board we've got to have a lot of team effort.
Yeah, 5 games into the season, well, 6th game of the season now, those nagging injuries start to pop up, and that leads me into my last question of the night here on the Subway pregame show, and you can be as long with this or as short as you want. At this point in the season, are you where you thought you'd be as far as what's your assessment of, ahead of the year, where you thought you'd be at this point and your assessment now?
Yeah, I never have thought that halfway through the year where would I like to be at, because we really do. We do go one game at a time. That's the most boring thing there is, cliche-wise, but it's the truth. And I don't. I can't afford to do that. And we're very happy to be where we are. We could have given up 50 points a game, and us average 51 points a game and won by 1 point every game, and we're still 5-0. So we're happy with the way we're playing. And we each week we just got to try to get the kids ready to play, motivate them. They love to compete. I've said that before on the air. And when the lights come on, they seem to like to shine, and that's what we're looking for tonight. Same thing.
Friday night lights in full effect here. Wildcats in town taking on the Colonels. Kick off in about 20 minutes on 105.5 KD Country.
Here's more specials from your area Apple Market convenience stores. 32-ounce fountain drink, only 89 cents. Large coffee and fresh baked donut or Miss Freshly snack cake, just $1.99. Dr. Pepper and Cokes, 99 cents for the 2-liter size. And all meat jumbo hot dog and 32-ounce drink, get both for $1.99. At the Apple Market locations, Riverside, Gateway, and Main Street, Altavista. You know what they say. Stop by the Apple today.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Altavista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Altavista. El Cazador thanks you for your business.
Stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, on the ready to keep you comfortable year-round. Locally owned and operated, just a call away, with over 20 years experience. Licensed and bonded. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, specializing in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Any season, anytime. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Give them a call today. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, Gretna.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Back here from the friendly confines, high atop in the press box at Altavista High School, as we look down, and the Altavista cheerleaders are doing their tackle cancer tribute here with the pink balloons. Oscar, they did this last year. It was very, very touching and moving, and really impressive, the amount of thought and work that went into it as well, and they're back doing it again this year, and they are doing it right now. And there are a bunch of guys on both teams tonight going to be wearing the pink socks and wristbands and that sort of thing, trying to do the breast cancer awareness initiative here in the month of October.
That's a great point. It is October, is breast cancer awareness, and the Altavista cheerleaders, in a little short amount of time, they did a little fundraising activity and raised over $200 to help fight that awful disease. It's really touched everybody that we know. But again, very touching presentation here. And we see that a lot at just about every school we go to during October. Even if we're on the road, the cheerleaders do the same type thing. At Rustburg was a big game last year that was very touching and a very nice display there.
Yeah, it is nice, and Coach Sharness and I talked about it, not in this interview, a few interviews ago. I mean, it's nice to be able to win football games, but there are some things in life that are more important, and it does help to keep that perspective. And events like this tonight that the cheerleaders are putting on, that helps everybody keep the perspective on the truly important things in life, even though sometimes Friday night football seems like it's the only thing that matters. It certainly is not, but we do have fun anyway. You always have fun on the Subway pregame show. And remember, this year you can win with Subway during Colonel games. KD Country and Subway of Altavista are giving you a chance to win with Subway. Make sure you like the KD Country Facebook page, and at some point during the game, could be the Subway halftime show, could be the Subway postgame show, you never know, but we'll give you the code word if you're the first person to post that word to the KD Country Facebook page. You win a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subway Altavista. And I did say post. We've done the message thing. We've even said text a few times, but post is what we're looking for. And if you need help posting on KD Country's Facebook page, well, get on there and like us and post something to us now, and we'll get some feedback. Our sound engineer, Eleanor Haney, back at home base, also our resident Facebook expert. So we're in good hands there, and we're in good hands as far as the sound goes, too. I think just all around tonight we're in good hands. We've got new seats up here, too. We'll get to that maybe, or now. It doesn't matter.
Well, we do have new seats, and a nice little contribution. The Colonel Club helped take care of those, along with our good friends at English's is where they came from, and we always appreciate everything they do for us. So yeah, kind of comfortable up here.
We've got backs on these seats up here. It's pretty nice. And again, Mr. Lee Stinnett from the Colonel Club, big shout out to him for helping us out. He went over there to English's. I think he made him an offer that they couldn't refuse. But
they're always willing to help us
absolutely.
out too.
Well, we can't forget last year against Dan River, this very game down in Ringgold, the English's Triple E Rentals press box was put into effect down there, and that was a big hand. And again, all those guys at English's over there, they always take care of us. They've been a sponsor of our games for a long, long time, and you should definitely go by there any chance that you have. So much more than a hardware store down there at English's, Oscar, but we've digressed again. What do you want to talk about now? I guess it's probably time to get into the nuts and bolts of this football game again. It's a very, very solid Dan River Ball Club coming in here, and you know, the Galax game was big, quality opponent. Gretna was big, quality opponent there. Obviously, even though the wins and losses might not show it, this might be the best team that Altavista's faced so far.
Well, they may be, and they started off 1-2. A little bit of a slow start, and I know that Farrell Edmonds had high hopes for this team going into the season. He talked earlier in all the preseason press about this is probably the best offensive line that he's ever had,
right?
Which speaks volumes. And you throw that in with the amount of athletes they have, and that's a recipe to make a deep run into the state playoffs and certainly challenge anybody in the old traditional Dogwood district, and certainly poses problems for Altavista tonight.
Well, it does, and like you said, they've always had some great athletes. Q Stevens is back there in the backfield running the football. They have Tremaine Edmonds. He's the third in the long list of brothers there. His other two brothers are at Virginia Tech right now. I believe Trey led them in rushing last week. He's been a little banged up this season too, but again, it's like Coach Sharness said, it's football. Everybody gets nicked up at a certain point, and you know, sometimes that's the difference is can you last, and do your key guys stay healthy or not?
Well, they appear to be healthy, and all indications are that they are. And you know, we talked about early in the year, we went up to Prince Edward and we talked about what a dominant, how fast that team was, how much speed they had. They had the number one team in the 4x100 meter relay. Well, guess who was second? Dan River. So
how'd I know you were going there?
Yeah, you had to.
I had to have known. Well, this is again going to be a good matchup here tonight. We'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll step aside for a quick time out here on the Subway pregame show. We'll bring it back with some more analysis, tell you a little bit more about our ball game, and then we'll be ready for the kickoff before you know it. You'll hear it all live on 105.5 KD Country.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass, I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Perkins Tire and Auto Service in Chatham. And we do mean service because Perkins Tire will pick up and deliver your vehicle. Call Perkins Tire in Chatham, 434-432-1100, 432-1100. Whether you need brand name tires or service, call Calvin, Stanley, or Frankie at Perkins Tire and Service Center on Highway 29 in Tight Squeeze, just south of Chatham. Perkins Tire and Service Center, your authorized Michelin tire dealer.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Our thanks to these members of the Katy Country Sports Club.
El Cerrito in Altavista. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only at El Cerrito.
Robertson Auto Sales, Lynchburg. Dealers with a passion for great quality pre-owned vehicles. We love cars and trucks, and it shows in our inventory.
Aubrey Rosser, attorney at law, going above and beyond the courtroom. Your choice for any and all legal advice. Serving Altavista, Lynchburg, and Roanoke areas.
One Stop Mart, Main Street Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
Mad Biddy's Antiques, 105 Wood Lane, just off of Main Street. Come find what you didn't know you were looking for.
Dairy Freeze, serving ice cream, yogurt, fries, hamburger, hot dogs, and fresh chili since 1961 from their Main Street location.
Winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway pregame show returns here on 105.5 KD Country. Dan River Wildcats in town taking on the Altavista Colonels. Of course, Colonels come into this one undefeated. Dan River 4-2 on the year, and our broadcasts, Oscar, are always a lot of fun, and you know, we always get the shout-outs going on. I'm thinking about Subway right now because I'm thinking about Mr. Robert Duff. He told me there is a large contingent of former Altavista residents up in Cape Cod that listen to these games every night. Yeah, exactly. And you thought England was a long way away. No, I'm just kidding. No, we do have, of course, we do have a few fans across the pond there that try and tune in to us every now and then. Time difference over there. Cape Cod's still in the Eastern time zone, so it's a little bit easier for them to listen. So big hello to those former Altavista residents up there. He didn't want to give any names. I don't know if it's like a witness protection thing or something. Or
well, you don't want to do that because inevitably you'll omit someone.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Rather than do that, you do the blanket statement, and you talk about across the pond. I got my sister Carol lives in England, and she listens, stays up late, midnight over there.
Wow.
And she listens in every now and then. So we go, hey, we're not only we're award-winning, but we're international.
We're international. We're worldwide. We might even be like universe-wide somehow. I don't know how far these radio signals travel outside the atmosphere here, but you just never know. And again, big thanks to everybody that listens out of town. Mr. Eddie Barner, by the way, in Arkansas or Texas or Arizona somewhere.
Arkansas.
That's what Mr. Stennett was saying. Eddie Barner, big hello to you if you're listening out there. You're out there somewhere. And
he's loyal too. He listens about every week.
That's awesome.
We appreciate Eddie listening.
That is fun, and we appreciate all the local people that listen as well. On a rainy night like tonight, sometimes the listening audience grows a little bit because some people, you don't want to go out in the rain. Although rain's not falling now. If you are riding around town and you're sort of debating it, get on out here and check this thing out live.
Well, and you bring up a good point. It's not raining yet. It was earlier, as we alluded to. Talking to Donnie Wilkerson, he's been high on the radar, and he thinks we won't have any issues with rain getting this one in. If we do, we'll call him on it.
We can blame Donnie for that.
But certainly, we talked about Dan River, a little bit of a slow start. Started off 1-2. They've reeled off 3 in a row. This should be a good ball game tonight.
And they've got 3 shutouts on the year, too, so much like the Altavista Colonels, they rely on their defense for a lot. Maybe that means we're in for a defensive struggle. You never know. A lot of times when we think we're in for a shootout, that's when we get the defensive struggle. So we'll just have to see. They did beat Chatham last week 14-0, one of their rivals down there, of course, in Pittsylvania County. Colonels, if you were away last week, they beat their rival, the Gretna Hawks, 38-0. That was a big win, and, of course, extends the Altavista Colonels' long winning streak that they have, second longest in the state. And wouldn't you know it, that streak started last year against Dan River down there in Ringgold. So everything's coming full circle again. And to all those people that do listen online at kdcountry.com or with the TuneIn app, you can thank Chris Owen, your Allstate agent in Lynchburg. The streaming audio is brought to you by Chris Owen. Football fans are always in good hands with their Allstate agent, Chris Owen. Our broadcast is also brought to you by Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving families since 1905. Apple Markets. Check out the weekly specials at all area locations. Feller Chevrolet, a short drive will save you money. They also sponsor the YouTube broadcast where you can go listen to these games on demand anytime that you want. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place for family and friends to dine. English's Building Supply featuring a $15 rebate on Pella storm doors. And, of course, the provider of our fantastic chairs that we have up here right now. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and comfortable in between. Highview Motors GMC, from small to tall, Highview has it all. Apple Auto Glass in Lynchburg. Get a free car wash when you have a new windshield installed. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, your authorized Train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Perkins Tire and Auto Service, Highway 29 in Chatham. Call for free pickup and delivery. And let me mention something there on Perkins Tire and Auto Service. Free pickup and delivery, that doesn't mean they're going to go pick up your part for you. That means if you need a ride over there, or you need to drop your car off, you need a ride back to work, etc., they'll do it, and it's all free. They'll take care of you.
Not only will they do that, but Calvin will actually come to Altavista, pick up your car, drive it back to Tight Squeeze to get it whatever you want done to it. They've done that for me on an occasion, and boy, that's customer service. That's way above and beyond.
That is above and beyond, and again, that's why we have people like this sponsoring our broadcast. Really quickly, we also have to thank English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game, and the First National Bank, focused on providing an extraordinary customer experience. This is the Subway pregame show. Dan River has won the toss. They have elected to defer, so it looks like the Colonels will receive to start the football game here, Oscar. And again, we mentioned those sponsors. It's worth saying it again. Go out there and support them as much as possible. Tell them you appreciate them sponsoring the games, but better yet, just buy something from them. They'll like that even more.
Well, and absolutely, I think you know it's a valid point, and we stress. Let them know that you appreciate them supporting the Colonels and bringing this to you in your home and allowing you to listen to us. I mean, we're just the mouthpieces.
That's right.
You know, we're honored to get to watch these kids play. So. As you alluded to, the Colonels did lose. Dan River won the toss. They elected to defer. Colonels will get the ball first. After winning the first 2 coin tosses of the year, Altavista's lost 4 in a row.
I know. We talked about how great they were at that last year, and of course it's just luck. I mean, you got a 50-50 chance, right? And that's what the probabilities say anyway. Dan River has broken their huddle here, and they look like they're ready to kick off. It looks like doing the kicking honors for them will be number 30, Andrew Lewis. Back deep to return for the Altavista Colonels. You have number 1, Michi Malback on the near side hash mark. Far side hash mark is number 11, Juan Thornhill. They're both at about the 5 or 6 yard line. Lewis got his hand up in the air. Looks like he's ready for the run-up. Here's the kickoff. Wildcats and Colonels. Start of this football game will get kicked off by Juan Thornhill. Fields on the 9-yard line, going right up the middle. Stutter step for a moment. Now he's going to try and break it outside. Tackled up around the shoulders and dragged down around the 29-yard line. Solid return. And again, another one of those plays, Oscar. Juan never really kicked it into 5th gear. He was just sort of feeling his way through the defense.
No, interesting. We talked about the field, and the condition appears to be good. If you look around the 20-yard line, Juan made a cut. It did take up a big chunk of turf when he cut, so there'll be something to watch as we move further into tonight's ball game.
And the Colonels, again, if you remember a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, they planted the Bermuda grass out there. That generally holds up better footing on wet conditions than a fescue or a ryegrass or a bluegrass kind of thing. So we'll be in good shape here tonight, although the field probably will get a little torn up between hash marks. Receiver goes in motion. They hand it to Destin Brown instead, going off right tackle. Hit around the thigh pads hard, but he drove ahead for a few more yards as he's dragged down. 9-yard pickup there for Destin Brown, the first play from scrimmage.
Nice to establish Destin right from the get-go. We've seen Altavista earlier in the year. It's been Thornhill on that little delay, getting Destin out of the blocks early. Nice 9-yard pickup. Good job by that offensive line blowing that hole open for him.
Good hole up front and a good surge downfield as well. Shotgun formation again for the Colonels. 2 receivers to each side. They'll snap this one middle of the field from the 38-yard line. First down marker is at the 49. Receiver goes in motion again. He'll go through the formation. Juan back to throw. He's got to step up, flushed out of the pocket. Chased down and tripped up with an ankle tackle by number 85, who doesn't have a number on the roster here. So maybe I misidentified him, Oscar. Looks like 85. We'll figure it out who it is later on. Brings up a 3rd and short situation for the Altavista Colonels.
And watch for the hard count.
Yep, Juan going to go under center, snaps it quick. Ball went on the ground momentarily, and Juan got it back, dives ahead for the first down. Not something you'd like to see as a coach, but you're happy, obviously, that Juan got it back and then picked up the first down.
Nice job by Juan, because that was the snap. There was a mishandle in between the exchange between the center and the quarterback. Juan did a good job of corralling it and still being able to get up and get that first down.
I'm going to make a comment here that's both a positive and a negative. It's really the first time I can remember any kind of ball handling issue between Juan and the center, and Altavista has taken care of the football, knock on wood, very well this year, Oscar. They hand it off on first down to Destin Brown. Brown is busting through the O-line again, dragged down around the 50-yard line. 2 men bring him down, not after Destin gets enough for a first down, and this will move the sticks again as they'll spot this ball just beyond the 50-yard line in Dan River territory.
Dan River blitzed the corner on that play, and it was designed to come to this side. Off tackle, Destin was able to squirt over and get over in that hole vacated by that corner and get downfield.
Still no score here from Altavista. 0-0 is our score. 10-12 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. Bunch formation here. Still 2 receivers on each side, but they're both in tight. They put them all back in motion. They hand it to him on the wide receiver sweep. Michi headed to the right sideline, dragged down with another shoestring tackle, and he'll get dropped after a short gain, 3 or 4 yard pickup on the sweep play.
Yeah, Altavista runs that jet sweep. They run it 6-8 times a game, and it's usually successful. We talk about a short game. He picked up 4.
Yeah.
That's not bad. And again, Destin Brown did a good job getting out and sealing that corner, which allowed Michi to get those 4 yards.
Yeah, if 3 or 4 yards is your short gain, then it's going to normally be a pretty good night, pretty good season, because you're staying on schedule here. 2nd and 6 coming on the way. Thornhill 5 yards deep, awaiting the shotgun snap. He's going to take it and go right up the middle. Got to dodge some tacklers, dancing out of the way, spin down to the ground as he is dropped right at the line of scrimmage, or perhaps in the backfield a little bit. Zamar Anderson, the man in the backfield, making the tackle for the Wildcats.
It's going to bring up about 3rd and 7, and nice job by Dan River. That little delay that we see Juan run so often, they were absolutely prepared for it and had him trapped, nowhere to go for Juan.
Yeah, good penetration in the backfield there. Juan did his best to pull the magic disappearing act again, but he just couldn't. Tight end in the ball game now is Donovan Montague. He's set up on the right side. Back is to Thornhill's left. Juan wants to roll left. He's looking for Montague over there to the right. Montague covered, and Juan is dropped on the sack in the backfield. It'll go as a 10-yard loss, dragged down by number 53, Cody Phelps, on the sack. And that will bring up a 4th down punting situation for the Altavista Colonels. And this is rare to have them start a game, Oscar, and have to punt the football away without either scoring or at least making a big drive into the other team's territory.
My first recollection, this is the first drive, first opening possession they've had that they haven't scored this year. And that was a nice job by Dan River. That play was designed to go out to Donovan on a little tight end screen. Dan River did a good job stopping.
Well, we mentioned the Wildcats are good. This snap is low. Walker will field it on one hop, kicked it away. Man, for Dan River, kind of shielded his head. He probably could have gone after the block there. Either way, the ball will get punted away successfully, and not a long punt, but it does give Altavista's defense a little more breathing room. Walker not particularly pleased with himself, but from my vantage point, when the ball is bouncing back there to you and you got a heavy rush, getting it away is job number 1, and Walker did that.
Well, he did, and great point, because he was under pressure, had 2 Dan River defenders coming in to block and to block the kick, and he did a good job getting his hands on it and at least advancing it, getting it a 20-25 yard punt.
Yep. Dan River takes over on their own 38-yard line. 8:04 remaining here in the Apple Market first quarter. Their first play from scrimmage. Handoff goes to number 7. That's Q Stevens. Stevens going to try the left side. He's got some room there. 2 or 3 yard pickup as Thornhill racing in on the tackle along with Demetrius Johnson there as well. And it is a solid 4.5 yard gain right there as the clock winds down under 8 minutes. Still no score here from Altavista. Wildcats first time touching the football, Oscar, and it looked pretty good.
Q Stevens, one of those guys that was on that track team, so he's got some speed.
Yep, and he's another basketball guy. He's a guy we saw last year run the ball very successfully. They're going to hand it to him again. He's going to follow his fullback to the left side. Got one hand on his fullback's back as he is run out of bounds there. Falls down right along the sideline. It's enough for a first down pickup. Solid 7 or 8 yard pickup there for Q Stevens.
And you look at last week's result from Dan River, which they beat Chatham 14-0. You're going to see them grind the ball, Kyle. You're not going to see a lot of flashiness. You're not going to see a lot of pass plays. They will throw the ball some, but they're going to grind the ball. They're going to power and run at you.
I formation here, 2 receivers to the right, tight end left. They'll toss it to Stevens this time. He's going right, shakes one tackler, drives down, won't get through the second tackler, and that was Demetrius Johnson again on the takedown there. 5 yard pickup gets it to the Altavista 45 yard line. It'll bring up 2nd and 5 with 7:13 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. Still no score here between Dan River and Altavista.
Early Dan River line is really pushing the Colonel's line back.
Well, you said you walked down there before the game, and Dan River was big. They had some solid bodies up front, and they are getting a good surge, good blocking up front, giving Stevens room to run. He's going to go left side again. Demetrius Johnson couldn't make the jersey tackle, but Malbeck flies in and gets him low, trips him up. I want to say Stevens is going to be just short of that first down marker. It'll bring up about 3rd and 1, maybe 1.5 if you want to be picky, but first big situation for the Altavista defense tonight, Oscar.
And the way that Dan Rivers run the ball so far, it is a big situation for Altavista. You got to believe that Dan Rivers probably in 2-down territory, knowing Farrell like we do.
Sure, they're in Altavista territory. First down markers at the 40. They'll snap this on the 38.5. Stevens going right up the middle. He stopped short. Good play right there by the Altavista D-line to get in there. Destin Brown also following up. It looked like Darius Johnson might have been Johnny on the spot, along with Wayne Short. They gave him about half a yard. This brings up 4th down, and we'll call it 4th and about a foot, and it looks like Dan River is going to go for it, Oscar.
They will, and they'll come up under center, and you can believe they're going to try a hard count first, but make no mistake, this is power football right here.
Yep, I formation. The quarterback is Jovion Reynolds. They'll get under center right now, fullback, tailback behind him. Quarterback sneak, I'm not sure he got it. He got stuffed short, but then he fell forward. Good, hard play right there from Reynolds, and Reynolds actually came out of the pile still on his feet with the football, but I think they said his progress was stopped right there. So big first down pickup there for the Wildcats. Keeps the chains moving.
And 5:38, 5:37. This quarter's clicking by pretty quick.
Yeah, both teams keeping on the ground primarily. That helps. Altavista tried the passing play, but Thornhill was sacked in the backfield. Fresh set of downs from the 41 for the Dan River Wildcats. I formation again, tight end left, 2 receivers to the right, fullback and tailback in a straight line I formation. Reynolds going to bring it back to pass. He's looking over the middle. Ball is high and incomplete. Looking for Tremaine Edmonds. Pass way over his head.
Way over his head. And Tremaine Edwards is listed at 6'4", 220. He's closer to 6'5", 6'6", and looks like there was miscommunication there because Tremaine went on a little in route, and that ball was thrown as if it was an out pattern. So a little bit of miscommunication between the quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It'll bring up 2nd and 10, though. Malbeck had Edmonds covered up pretty good. I formation again, tight end to the right, 1 receiver to each side. They'll hand it to Stevens again. Left side, he's got some room. Past the line of scrimmage, still on his feet after getting tripped up, and now he runs out of bounds. Thornhill was going to make the hit, but Stevens stepped out. Big gainer again, 13-yard pickup there off left tackle. It is a play that starts out, looks like he's going off the hip of that tight end, and then he a lot of times will take it out to the sideline, and he just turns it up. There's nobody there to set the edge for the Colonels.
And the Colonels are not, great point, the Colonels are not getting any penetration and not sealing that edge. Dan Rivers doing a good job taking that from off tackle and getting it outside.
Fullback looks like Hunter Pace most of the time doing actually maybe Joshua Thaxton. Dan River, either way, a little bit of miscommunication and disorganization, so they'll take a timeout. We'll take it with them. 5:10 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. No score here from Altavista. Wildcats football when you come back on 105.5 KD Country.
English Construction Company has been in the building business since 1909, so it's only natural that they appreciate the building process. They recognize the fact that organized sports programs build character as well as bodies and minds. They know that high school sports build our youth into more well-rounded and more productive adults. English Construction Company is proud to be a sponsor of high school sports and salute all athletes, coaches, and teachers. A word of praise and encouragement from English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
First quarter action here from Altavista. Dan River taking the timeout on first down. They've picked up quite a few first downs on this initial opening drive for them, Oscar. And like you said earlier, 5:10 left. The first quarter is seemingly flying by here from Altavista.
That timeout was called by Dan River. They looked a little bit disorganized. It was a lucky break for Altavista because they had two wideouts, a wide receiver and a slot person over here on the right-hand side, and only one defender from Altavista.
Shotgun formation this time. They snap it directly to Curtis Stevens. Stevens sifting his way through the left side of the defense again. He's hit hard and brought down. Dante Poindexter in on the stop, along with it looked like Trayvon Elliott. Michi Malback was in the area. A lot of black jerseys around there as the Colonels are in the home. Black top, black pants. A lot of guys, again, with the pink socks on.
And we've seen Altavista's defense this year bend, and then bow up when they get inside the red zone. Now's would be a good time to see that again from the Colonels.
Certainly would. Shotgun formation. They're going to put a man in motion. That's Edmonds. Edmonds trying to run the jet sweep. He's going nowhere. Dropped in the backfield. That was not Edmonds. That was actually Jaquan Durant there that got brought down around the 29-yard line.
And that was Darius Johnson on the stop that drug him down. Favorable spot. They're only call that a loss of like 2. Darius came up a little bit lame on that play, Kyle, so that'll bear watching as we move a little bit deeper into this ball game.
We talked about the injury situation, the health of this team. Big 3rd and 9 coming up for Dan River. They'll snap this one near side hash mark from the Altavista 27-yard line. Shotgun formation again. Looks like Stevens back there at quarterback. He fakes it to the receiver this time, plunging right up the middle. Nothing there as he is stopped by a big mass of Colonel bodies. Donovan Montague in on it. Demetrius Johnson in on it. Oh, it looked like Wayne Short was there again. Good team stop that time. He did pick up a yard, but certainly not enough for the first down. It'll bring up 4th and 7 for the Wildcats, and they look like they're going for it again.
And let's not leave out Dante Poindexter, who was in the middle of that pile as well. So big fourth down play here. 4th and 7, 3:33 remaining in the first quarter, no score.
Shotgun formation again. It looks like Reynolds at the quarterback this time. He fakes the throw, hands it off on the draw. They go to Stevens. Stevens hit hard. He's short, fighting for yards. Now he's stopped, and he is going to be a few yards short of the first down. Big 4th down stop for the Colonels defense right there. I like the play calling from Dan River with the draw there and then the handoff, but the Colonels defense just had too many guys standing between him and the first down marker.
Well, and anytime you're handing off on 4th down to Edmonds, you got to be extremely careful if you're an Altavista player, but that play didn't work. They gained 6 yards. Nice job by the Colonels. Again, bending. Nice job by Dan River. A little 40-yard drive, but Altavista in the end shut them down. First down, Colonels.
Ate up a lot of clock there, did Dan River. And like you said, great bend but don't break defense by the Altavista Colonels. First down on their own 22-yard line, middle of the field. Shotgun snap to Thornhill. Thornhill hands it off to Destin Brown. Brown going right side behind a pulling guard. Solid pickup as he falls to the turf across the 25 and more like the 26-yard line. 3:10 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. Still no score. This is high school football at its finest right here, Oscar.
And you know, you got to wonder as if Destin doesn't have a motor. We know he does, but he missed the Dan River game last year. He's running hard tonight. He may want to have something that he wants to prove to the Dan River team.
That's right. I thought about that. Great point. Destin did not play in that Dan River game last year. Michi Malback in the ball game in the backfield now, standing right beside Juan Thornhill as a running back. They'll snap it to Juan. Juan going to take off and run himself. Never got into full strides. He was just hopping around like he was on a pogo stick, dodging would-be tacklers. And it is a solid pickup. He gets it right about a foot shy of the first down marker. So we'll call it 3rd and a foot here with 2:25 remaining in the first quarter, no score.
We talk about Juan's patience this year and the fact that he doesn't accelerate full speed, but this Dan River team's got a ton of athletes. He's really having to pick his holes tonight.
Excellent point. Thornhill getting the offense straight. Montague in as a tight end. He'll go to the right side, 2 receivers to the left. It looks like Michi Malbeck still sharing the backfield with Thornhill. Juan looking over the defense. Shotgun snap is chest high. They hand it to Malbeck. Malbeck's got the first down. Shake and bake move. Now he's headed outside. Oh, nearly got it loose there for a big gain. It's enough for a first down, though. 7-yard pickup for Michi Malbeck, showing off some nice moves and then trying to get to the sideline to break free.
Nice job by Nelson Dews getting out and sealing that corner that allowed Michi to pick up those 6 or 7 extra yards.
1:57 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. And you know what they say, visit the Apple today. Got everything you need to make your weekend great. Altavista, fresh set of downs, near side hash mark here from the 39-yard line. First down markers right at the 49, bunch formation to the right. Officials will stop play here momentarily. It looks like they want to discuss something. Yeah, it looks like this official over here on the Altavista sideline is telling the head judge, we need a sideline warning. I need some more room to operate here. And most officials will give you a little leeway on that. There's a 3-yard window there that the players have to be behind, and most of the coaches have to be behind that as well, although, again, the head coach and a lot of times other coaches will get some leeway there. Shotgun snap. They'll hand it off to Michi Malbeck. Malbeck ran into his own lineman there that looked like short, and that slowed his progress down. Michi dropped at about the 40. 1-yard pickup there on first down as we have 1:20 remaining in the first quarter, Oscar. Still no score.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned it tonight, but Coach Shaughnessy talked about it. You're going to miss Clydell Moon on a night tonight.
Sure.
We're a very physical Dan River team. Destin could spell each other with Clydell. Don't have that luxury tonight.
That's absolutely right. They're using Michi Malbeck as a running back. They did it some last week, and they've done it some in the past. Juan Thornhill going to sprint out to his right on the pass. Now he'll come back across the field to his left, still looking downfield. Avoids a couple tacklers. He's across the 40, across the 45, still on his feet. Look at the magic man go. Flag comes out. Juan's across the 40, still on his feet across the 30. Malbeck getting out in front to block. Juan Thornhill's going to jog it into the end zone for a touchdown. But I mentioned that flag came out, around the 47-yard line. It's probably going to be a block in the back on the Colonels. It is. I'm still going to say wow, because Thornhill covering some ground, running out of tackle after tackle. Man, that's tough when you negate an amazing run like that.
And Juan, that play started at the 40-yard line, and he ran, officially it would have been a 60-yard score, but he ran about 85 or 90, and really that play happened behind Juan.
Right.
So you can't fault the Altavista player who continue to play, continue to block, and Juan is slow getting back downfield.
Yeah, Juan is definitely gassed. He's walking his way back here, taking his time. And, Juan's a savvy player. When he sees that play clock start, he'll pick it up and get back into gear and get the play set. But who could blame him? I mean, like you said, he ran probably a full 90 yards when you count what he did east to west as well as north to south. Just eventually making his way back in the Altavista backfield. There's still 12 seconds on the play clock, and like I said, Juan looked at that and he knew it. He's actually getting the play right now from Destin Brown. Now he'll move Destin over to his right. We're down to 4 seconds on the play clock. Man goes in motion. Juan snaps it, fakes it. It's a passing play again. Juan steps up. He's going to get run down from behind this time. Gang tackle by the Dan River Wildcats. Won't give Juan anywhere to go, and you could clearly tell that Juan didn't have that extra gear that time after the long run prior to that. Say he got back to the line of scrimmage, it'll bring up 3rd and 13.
Yeah, it does bring up 3rd and 13, and Juan is gassed, and he's
thinking about maybe a sub.
I'm kind of surprised. We've seen Donovan take some snaps at quarterback this year, and
they're going to let the quarter run out, and that'll give Juan a little bit of a breather. 5 seconds, now 4 seconds. So 1 quarter of play is done here from Altavista, and we've got something a little bit different. No score, 0-0 ball game. Second quarter on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in and bring the family and see your friends at Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
First quarter is in the books here from Altavista High School. 0-0 is the score. Dan River Wildcats in town taking on the hosting Altavista Colonels. And Oscar, one of the best first quarters we've seen in a while, and maybe one of the better quarters in general that we've seen in a while. A lot of back and forth. If you like offense, you didn't like it very much, but if you like just gritty, grinded out football, then it was certainly your style of a quarter.
It was, and boy, again, that quarter flew by because we didn't see a lot of passing activity on either team. I don't know that
Altavista ran some pass plays, but one either got flushed out of the pocket or sacked. Of course, there was the one long one that got negated. That started out as a pass play. Dan River 0 for 1 passing in their lone attempt. So you're right, clock didn't stop very much. We're used to the Colonels scoring 20-plus points in the first quarter sometimes, and that tends to take a while. This first quarter flew by. Thornhill's got the offense back out there. They'll go from the far side hash mark. They're going away from the road now. They give it to Destin Brown. Brown across the original line of scrimmage, looking for the first down marker, and I think he got it. Finally dragged down with a couple guys on his back right around the 50-yard line. It is enough to move the chains. Destin Brown, boy, you can't say enough about how good he is, Oscar.
And he dove. He was stopped about 1.5 yards short, and he was able to continue to drive his legs and dive and got that first down by about a football. So nice job by Destin. Nice job of that offensive line. Creating a hole for Destin to get through.
Left side of that O-line again. It looked like Wayne Short over there. Dan River showing blitz. Thornhill's going to take off on the run. Had to dodge the first tackle and could not. He tried to sidestep the man that got penetration in the backfield, but he just couldn't. Held on to his foot right there. It looked like Cody Phelps again, number 53. The first man on the scene. They called a loss of about a foot for Altavista. Brings up second and a long 10.
And we're seeing Anderson, if you watched, number 13, Anderson for Dan Rivers doing some shadowing of Thornhill. So see if they continue to do that as this game wears on.
And I remember last year Zamar Anderson impressed us as a quarterback. Today impressing us with some defense. Option play. Thornhill will pitch it to Destin Brown. Brown lowers his shoulder, hit hard right at about the 50 and brought down after a small gain. Stop that time was number 13, Zamar Anderson right there. So, man, we just talked about Johnny on the spot. Good hit right there on Destin Brown. It'll bring up third and a long 9 with 10:45 remaining in the half. 0-0 score.
Dan Rivers a lot like Altavista, very athletic. When you try to string it out wide, there's so many athletes that can shut that sweep down. Altavista's success has been Dustin off tackle and running up the middle. The Colonels have been able to create the holes for him, and that's been the most successful play for him.
Yeah, that play hits a little bit quicker. This Dan River team is, like you said, much like the Colonels on defense, relentless in the backside pursuit. So if you do string it outside, chances are there's a lot of guys coming. Passing play here. Juan flushed out of the pocket again. He'll throw over the middle. He's got them all back, but the pass is a little high, and Michi did slip a little bit as it was behind him. He tried to adjust, and maybe that's the case. You can say the wet turf might have got him a little bit, but I think even on a dry day, that pass probably falls incomplete.
Yeah, Juan was being pressured, tried to set his feet, and he actually slipped a little bit when he threw the ball as well. So footing is a little bit of an issue here tonight.
Punting situation again for the Altavista Colonels. They've had 2 possessions. Both have ended in a punt. It's a punt formation anyway here from the 49-yard lines where this ball will be snapped. Walker's got his heels on the 35-yard line. Near side hash mark. 1 lone return man for the Dan River Wildcats. 10:14 left to play in the half. 0-0 score as the snap is perfect to Walker, but there is a flag down. The play will be blown dead. Remember the first time the Colonels punted, the snap was low. It bounced back to Walker Allen. He really had to sort of get a desperation kickoff. Officials talking it over here, Oscar. I'm not sure what to think just yet. It's on Dan River. Man lined up in the neutral zone, I believe, or at least just jumped offside. This makes it 4th and 4 now. Does this change your play call at all if you're Coach Mike Sharnas?
No, I think you don't want to give Dan River a short field.
Looks like he's got the punt unit still out there lined up. No rule that says you can't fake it, but I think you're right. I think the Colonels will kick it away and hang their hat on their defense. Snap does go back to Walker Allen. Kick is away. Wayne Short, first guy on the spot. It'll get fielded on the 10-yard line. Fair catch was called. Good pressure there by Wayne Short to really necessitate that fair catch. And it's going to start Dan River on the 10.
How many times do you have your long snapper be the first one down on punt coverage and be the one that, if he wouldn't have fair caught that ball, he would have gotten hit, and that was this long snapper. That's impressive.
Well, and it was number 4, Malcolm Ware, on the fair catch and no return, and he did the right thing, because if he fields that ball, like you said, Wayne Short is right there, and he may risk losing the football in a fumble. So good coverage by Wayne Short, good kick by Walker Allen to pin Dan River in the shadow of their own goalpost. 10-yard line. Running back slipped down for a moment, but he regained his footing, running hard up the middle. That's Jaquan Durant. It was actually more so right tackle is where he was headed. He does pick up a few yards. Again, slipped out of the starters' blocks there, and called a 5-yard gain. 9:40 remaining in the Apple Market second quarter. Still 0-0 score, Dan River, Altavista.
And you're seeing Dan River run a stable of running backs in. Edmonds, Ware, Durant, Stevens have all run the ball tonight.
You got a bunch of guys that are capable. I formation again. They'll hand it to the tailback again. Penetration by Dante Poindexter is going to shut that down. He didn't make the tackle. The rest of the unit did, but Dante spilled the play and slowed things down, and then the cavalry came in. They do give him about an inch, but good defensive stop there by the Colonels, D-line, and linebackers in on it as well. 3rd down and 5 on the way here for Dan River.
Well, that's a great call, Kyle, because it was Dante Poindexter and Trayvon Elliott were the ones that really blew that play up, and then the linebacking crew came in and cleaned up. But nice job by that front line of the Colonels.
High formation again for Dan River. Reynolds going to look over the defense, make sure his receivers are set, one to each side. They'll hand it off again. Right tackle, nothing there. Small pickup, but the Colonels look like they've got another 3rd down stop. Devontae Clark in on that along with Trayvon Elliott. And it looks like Dan River is bringing out some new personnel. I tell you, Oscar, it's only about 4th and 1.5. If Coach Edmonds really wanted to roll the dice, he could go for this, but they are inside their own 20, so probably the right call to punt it away.
We've seen teams do that against the Colonels this year and you give them a short field, and I think every single time they've paid for it.
Punt snap gets back. It's a very good one. Kick isn't great. It won't get past the 50-yard line, so the Colonels are going to start out in very good field position. It went out of bounds around the 42. Don't know if they intentionally kicked it over there to keep it away from the Altavista return man, which was Juan Thornhill, or perhaps it was just one of those mishits.
I think it was, and where's the punter for them? He's listed at 5'6". And again, I was on the field earlier, and he's not 5'6". Now, it's important I bring it up only because he plays corner for him as well. And at 5'6", he's been going up against Darius or Demetrius Johnson at 6'3". That may be something the Colonels can exploit moving a little bit further into the ball game.
And the Colonels have another guy with size out there on the wide receiver spot. That's Walker Allen. He's on the far side right now. This one will get snapped from the far side hash mark. Thornhill calling out the snap count. Bunch of guys moving on both teams. I'm shocked that no flags came out. Dan River came across first, it looked like, and then Altavista looked like they jumped. But no flags, no whistles, so it'll go as a 0-yard gain there. Handoff play went to Destin Brown.
I'm surprised, too, that the Dan River line did jump, and then Jamal Thornhill over on this side jumped right in front of the referee. And
I don't know, maybe that referee right in front of him saw the Dan River line move, so he decided to let the younger Thornhill's movement go, but who knows? 2nd and 10 on the way here. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Tie ball game. No score. Thornhill wants to throw, looking out wide, looking for number 24, Nelson Dews, but the pass is incomplete. Caught by Coach Mike Revis over on the sideline.
Good hands by Coach Revis.
Absolutely.
Juan coming over to get the play. Colonels look a little bit disjointed tonight. Look a little flat. I'm not going to say it's all them. Dan Rivers had a great deal to do with that.
Yeah, I would agree, but I think I would also agree with the first part of your statement. They do. It doesn't quite look like the Altavista offense that we're used to seeing. But as you and I know, they can throw it into high gear here at any moment. Let's see if they can do it on this 3rd down play. 3rd and 10 on the way. 2 receivers here to the right. 1 wing back to the right as well. Back is to Juan's left. That's Michi Malback. Malback going to run right. Got a lot of room. He's across the 35, across the 30. Going down right sideline. Malback steps out of bounds. Boy. Oh, man. That's one, if you had an instant replay, you'd love to take a look at it. Hard for us to tell from our vantage point. Malback would have raced it in the end zone. Steps out. Let's see where they spot it. Oh, way back, all the way back on the 26-yard line. I thought he might have stepped out more so around the 15, but he stepped out at the 26.
There's a big umbrella in my way, but no comment.
1st and 10 for the Altavista Colonels. They give it to Michi. Michi going right up the middle. He got stopped a little bit in the backfield, but he fell forward. Deshaun Robinson on the penetration there for Dan River, that was Deshaun Robertson, excuse me. They'll call it a 4-yard pickup for Michi Malback, who was pressed into service as a running back here. Under 7 minutes to play in the Apple Market second quarter. Still no score from Altavista.
Yes.
Malback going to try off left side, nothing there. Blocking was not sound that time for the Altavista Colonels, and Malback will lose a yard as he is dropped down in the backfield. This will bring up 3rd and 7 now, Oscar. Big play call here for the Colonels, and maybe 4-down territory as well, because I think they might be on the fringes of Walker Allen's kicking range. But you never know.
It would be approximately a 40, 42-yarder. That's in his range, but you don't want to settle for a field goal here.
Yeah, wet field, too. That sometimes affects the kicking game. Thornhill, hard count. This will get Dan River to jump offside. This time, we're pretty certain they've called it and thrown the flags out, and this will back Dan River up. It's not going to be enough to give Altavista the first down, but it's a big change because it's going to make it 3rd and 1.5 or 2 as opposed to 3rd and long.
You go from 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 2. Don't underestimate that. And again, still looking, Destin's down here. Coach Angela Emerson's working on his, looks like on his shoulder.
You're absolutely right. Michi Malback is in the backfield with Juan Thornhill. 2 receivers to each side. 3rd and 1. Thornhill goes the hard count. Again, now the snap comes back to him. Fakes it to Malback. He's going to run it himself. He's off right tackle. He's got some room. He's across the 5. Diving in the end zone. Touchdown, Juan Thornhill. What a block out on the perimeter by Demetrius Johnson. He drove his man all the way back to the 1-yard line, and Juan just jumped over both of them, Oscar.
Demetrius drove him, kept his hands inside. Was not absolutely going to get that hold called on him. The Dan River jersey player had a hold of his jersey. Great job blocking by Johnson on that to allow Thornhill. You mentioned it. We're waiting. Juan hadn't carried the ball tonight a lot, but that play worked well.
Thornhill finally busting loose there for a touchdown for the Altavista Colonels. Wow. Faked it, a very good fake to Michi Malback. Then he took it off right tackle. He outraced the rest of the Dan River defense to the perimeter there, turned it up around the numbers, and like I said, just kept it going to around the 1 or 2 yard line. Then he just dove it in the end zone. Extra point by Walker Allen is good. Colonels on the scoreboard. They lead 7-0. 6 minutes left to play in the first half on 105.5 KD Country.
When you have more mortgage options, you'll be in a better buying situation, and I can help. I'm Courtney Woody with First National Bank, and we offer a wide variety of loans right here in Central Virginia. So if you want a more custom mortgage for a new home or to lower your existing monthly payment, contact me, Courtney Woody, at First National Bank in Windhurst. We've been focused on local customers just like you for 100-plus years. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
Well, we figured it was going to happen eventually, Oscar. Altavista finally getting on the scoreboard. Some great defense. They take advantage of this short punt, the penalty in there, and then Juan Thornhill up to his old bag of tricks, isn't he? 7-0 Colonels lead after the 16-yard TD run by Mr. Thornhill.
And again, Walker Allen's becoming more and more automatic with those extra points. I hope I don't curse him with that. But, again, nice drive by the Colonels. And a little bit interested to see what's going on with Dustin Brown.
Yeah.
Not necessarily from the offensive side. He is coming out for the kickoff team. That's a good sign. We certainly can't afford another injury, and to lose like Destin on the defensive side would be a tough road to hoe for the Colonels.
I would agree. I mean, you got Clydell out, who is a running back and a linebacker. Destin, same positions there, and they both do offense and defense very well. So, yeah, if you lost both of those guys, it would certainly not be good news. But just got to adapt and overcome right now if you're the Colonels or any football team for that matter, because injuries are going to happen. We'll see what's up with Destin. Colonels had the 7-0 lead. You mentioned Walker Allen, very good on the extra points. Remind me to talk a little bit more about him later, because we got some statistics that are very good for Mr. Allen. He's got the ball on the tee, ready to kick it off. Destin Brown is out there in the kickoff unit, so we would assume that means he's at least healthy enough to play some defense. This kick is low. Looked like Walker might have mishit it a little bit, but it'll still go in the end zone. Line drive was too hot to handle for Dan River. They'll start on the 20-yard line. Another touchback for Walker Allen.
And Walker not really pleased with that kick.
Right.
He was in earlier, before the game started, he was kicking them, and he was booming.
Yeah, we were watching him and just really impressed.
That one was really hot, though. It never got 8-10 feet above the ground, and really Dan River didn't have a chance.
Yeah, again, Walker, would have preferred to boot that ball high and let it land in the end zone like he normally does, but mishit it a little bit, still got enough on it to get it through the end zone. Interestingly enough, the ball is still sitting in the end zone here as Dan Rivers going to snap this middle of the field 20-yard line. Of course, each team uses a different ball. That's why they just leave that ball laying there. Hand off goes to Edmonds. Edmonds sifting his way through the Altavista D-line. He found some room there, and then he was finally cut down by number 11, Juan Thornhill. 5-6-yard pickup on first down, though, for Dan River.
One of the ball kids just retrieved the ball from the end zone.
Yeah.
Altavista's got 6 pick sixes this year.
Yeah.
So that's important to get that ball out of the field of play. Dan River decides to throw
that's very important. You're absolutely right. Sometimes on a kickoff, the kicker will leave the tee out there on the field. I don't know if I've ever seen the ball left out on the field like that. 2nd and 4 on the way. Dan River I formation again. They'll hand it to Edmonds again. Edmonds stacked up. Look at Dante Poindexter just holding Edmonds up while the rest of the D-line and linebackers could finish him off. Dante Poindexter, big stop right there on Tremaine Edmonds and the Dan River Wildcats.
Great job. Dante's really stepped up tonight. We called his name several times, and he is showing off tonight.
Big time play right there. It'll bring up 3rd and 6, we'll call it here. Dan River will snap this one around the left side hash mark from the 24-yard line. They got to get all the way to the 30-yard line. Reynolds looking over the defense again. Make sure his receivers are set. He's got one on each side. He's got a tight end to the right. They'll toss it out to the right. This time it's Stevens. Stevens looking for room to run. Stopped. What a hit right there. Came in low. Looks like Demetrius Johnson on the stop right there. Got him right around the thigh pads and just dropped him in his tracks. 2-yard pickup there for Stevens, but it's not enough to move the chains.
And it was only a 2-yard pickup because Stevens is so athletic and was able to dive forward because he was hit a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage. And great job by Johnson on that. Brings up 4th, and we'll call it 3. Colonels lead 7-0. 4:07 remaining here in the second quarter.
Thornhill back to return Malcolm Ware's kick. This time it looks like he's going to have a chance going over there to the right sideline. One thinking about picking it up after a couple bounces. He will not. And the ball will roll to a stop around the 38-yard line. That's where the Colonels will take over their own territory. 3:55 remaining in the Apple Market second quarter. It's a 7-0 Altavista lead.
And Nelson Dews thought that Juan might have a chance to return that, and he absolutely leveled Logan Harvey for Dan River.
Good blocking there by Nelson Dews. And Nelson Dews is out there as a receiver right now.
Destin Brown back in at running back.
So that's a good sign. I mean, sometimes you can go out there at linebacker with something hurt, but you don't really feel comfortable holding on to the football, especially if it's a shoulder-arm issue. But they give it to Destin right here on first down, and that ball is out. Destin's going to try and track it down. He does recover his own fumble. Not happy with himself. Slams the turf with his hand. First time, really, I can think of Destin fumbling in a while, Oscar. Got it back, though.
About a 12-yard loss.
Yep. Bring up second, real long.
Second and 23, and you're right.
Yep, second and long here for the Altavista Colonels with 3:25 remaining in the half.
Destin looked like he might have been able to get that corner turn, too.
7-0 Colonel lead. Destin stationed right behind Juan Thornhill. Shotgun formation. Pass fake. They hand it to Destin again. Destin's got some gaining room this time. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
That was almost the old Statue of Liberty play.
That was.
Juan posed like he was, pump fake and dropped his hand down and handed the ball up to Destin. He picked up about 8 on the play.
2:51 remaining in the Apple Market second quarter. He did not get it across the 35-yard line. He did get it across the 30. They're on about the 33 now. Shotgun formation again for the Colonels. One tight end right, one receiver right, 2 receivers to the left. Back is right behind Juan Thornhill. Option play to the right. Juan fakes the pitch. Now he's across the 40, across the 45 and the 50. Lowers his shoulder and then pushed out of bounds by number 5, Jaquan Durant. First down yardage by Juan Thornhill and the Altavista Colonels.
Yeah, a little option play, and Juan did his little pump fake, and really there was nobody there either way. Nice job by Juan turning the ball upfield, picking up that first down.
That's one thing I've always said that Juan very good at on the basketball court as well, Oscar. That subtle little shoulder fake, head fake, it freezes the defense. In fact, that time did more than freeze the defense. It sent them in the wrong direction. 3 down linemen for Dan River. They'll give it to Michi Mall back. No, Juan's going to keep it. He's across the 45, hit hard, run out of bounds again. Gained about 1 maybe at best. We'll stop the clock, though, as we are down 2:20 left in the half. And you know the Colonels would love to get on the board again before the half is over. 7-0 lead right now for Altavista.
Such a different dynamic with Michi in at running back as opposed to either Clydell or Destin, who are really power runners with speed. Michi is shifty. He's small. He's not strong. I mean, he's not a strong runner. So it's a totally different dynamic without one of those other 2 guys in the backfield.
Yeah, Michi's strong, but he's not the kind of lower his shoulder and knock you over, flatten you type of runner like Destin and Clyde are. Pass going out left side, complete to Darius Johnson. Johnson still on his feet. He's across the 30. He's across the 25. Darius Johnson on the catch and run right there. Great little hitch route. Juan threw him a strike right to his chest. Darius proceeded to break a couple tackles.
And that's that matchup we talked about a little bit earlier. Right. Johnson against Malcolm Ware. And even, Ware, as good an athlete as he is, once Johnson caught the ball, he hit him, wasn't able to contain him, allowed Johnson to get another 10, 15 yards downfield after the completion.
Excellent passing play right there by Thornhill to Johnson. Altavista Colonels, fresh set of downs, option play coming to the right again. Thornhill looking to pitch the ball back. No, Juan's going to keep it. He's across the 10, shifting now, dropped it about the 7-yard line. Sidestepped one tackler, a little juke move. Then he was dropped by Tremaine Edmonds there around the 7-yard line. Excellent option play again for the Altavista Colonels.
In the recent history of Altavista, has there been a better open field runner than Juan Thornhill?
I don't think so. I mean, there have been some good ones. There have certainly been some good ones, but just off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't think of anybody.
As far as ball handling skills,
no, you're
there
right.
has not been anybody.
Oh, man, absolutely. The way he understands angles and sees the open space. We'll talk a little bit more here in a second. 1st and goal. Thornhill wants to run again. Headed towards the end zone. He's crossed the 5, powering it down to about the 2 or the 3, maybe even the 1-yard line.
125. Excuse me, Kyle. 125. The clock continues to wind. 2nd and goal from the 2. Dan River does get the ball first, but it would be nice the Colonels to take get some points here. Certainly a touchdown would be huge. Go up 14-0 going into the half.
Just over a minute left to play. 65 seconds to be exact. Thornhill looking over the defense. He's got Destin Brown beside him. Demetrius Johnson is up right behind Stephen Farmer as a blocking back. Farmer was the lead block on the last play. Juan's headed that direction again, diving towards the end zone. Waiting for a signal. Touchdown, Altavista Colonels. Juan Thornhill again. He had Demetrius Johnson right behind Stephen Farmer. He followed those 2 guys. They opened a nice hole, and Juan dove into the end zone for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the evening. 13-0. Extra point on the way.
I want to talk about the offensive line.
Sure.
Boy, they continue to do just an outstanding job against this very physical, very big. Altavista's outsized by this Dan River team, but Altavista's offensive line doing an outstanding job.
Good hard running right there by Thornhill. He grabs his snap. It was a little low. Gets it on the block for Walker Allen. Kick is good. Altavista leading by 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points. 14-0. 51 seconds left in the half when you come back. Dan River Altavista on 105.5 KD Country.
For a storm door that offers style and convenience, come to English's Building Supply in Altavista for a Pella self-storing storm door. These doors feature screens that are always there when you need them, and Pella's self-storing storm doors are backed by Pella's lifetime storm door protection plan. Come by English's Building Supply. See the full line of Pella storm doors.
English's is your complete home center.
Get a $15 mail-in rebate during October.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
14-0, Colonel stretching out the lead. It was hard fought, though, Oscar. It did not come easy. That Dan River defense did their best, but Juan Thornhill, he did some of his best as well, helping march the Colonels down the field and in the end zone. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the night.
couple of key plays was the 3rd and 13 that Juan was able to scamper and get the first down, and then the nice pass play to Johnson.
Yeah,
those were the 2 key plays for me on that drive, in addition to the running that Juan did.
Yeah, that was pretty big. And you mentioned the offensive line; they are definitely doing their part up front. Stephen Farmer, Kenny Brumfield, Trayvon Elliott. Those guys are really helping clear a path for not just Juan, but all the ball carriers that Altavista has. And Altavista, speaking of balls, is switching a different one out there to kick. We mentioned each team uses their own ball on offense and to kick off.
They're using a special hydrogen field ball.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why Walker's got the great numbers. Somehow I doubt it.
Flubber.
Yeah. And it's like basket. It's like any other sport, really. I mean, the officials inspect the balls before the game, so Oscar was definitely joking. Can't sneak any kind of secret hydrogen-filled ball out there. 57 seconds, 51 seconds. 3rd time's a charm. We'll get that clock right eventually. 51.7 seconds to be exact on the clock. Walker Allen going to kick it away. This one's got no chance of being returned. It lands a full 9 yards deep in the end zone. It almost knocked that back pylon over. So Walker Allen leaving no doubt on that one. A long kickoff there. Dan River will start on their own 20. Again, after the touchback. 14-0, they trailed Altavista.
Interesting dilemma for Farrell Edmonds. You're down 14-0. Last year, Dan River tried to throw the ball against Altavista, and Altavista just chewed them up, had a ton of interceptions.
Yep.
Knowing that you get the ball first, do you take your lumps, try to run the ball?
Yeah, to me, and they've had success running the ball, too. So you might be a little bit more conservative here with your play call. I agree with you, but you never know. 51.7 seconds left in the half. Dan River down 14. I formation this time. It will be a passing play. Reynolds going to roll right, throws right. Oh, nearly intercepted by Michi Malback. It was over his head. It was over Tremaine Edmonds' head. That was the intended target. You almost called it there, Oscar.
Well, and let's talk. We talked about it earlier. Tremaine Edmonds listed at 6'4", closer to 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
You throw it over his head, and that's a hefty chunk.
You're absolutely right.
But for the fact that I think Michi was a little bit shielded.
Yeah.
And again, playing behind him, very conservative, keeping the play short in front of him. Nice play by Michi there as well.
Yeah, don't want to give up a long pass play at this point in the half. This time they'll run it. Going straight up the middle is Curtis Stevens. Stevens jumping over one man now, finally tripped down across the first down marker. Got it all the way to the 32. Solid pickup there. Will stop the clock momentarily while they move the chains. We mentioned Altavista, dangerous in the secondary. 11 passes intercepted this season for the Colonels. And Oscar said it, 6 of them returned for touchdowns, so the Colonels' defense can score with the best of them. I formation again looks like coming for Dan River. It is one receiver on each side, tight end right, passing play again. 3 men out in the pass pattern. They dump it off to Stevens on the short running back route. He'll turn it up the right sideline. Chased out of bounds now by Devontae Clark and Demetrius Johnson. Solid pickup, though. Don't know if it was designed to go to him or he was a checkoff guy. But,
I think that was a design play, and because they sent everybody this way. Destin Brown, great job at linebacker, the center linebacker, sliding over and taking care of that. If it was a check down, taking care of that option for Dan River and preventing that from going long. 20 seconds left. Altavista, Dan River's got the ball at their own 38-yard line. Colonels lead 14-0.
2nd and 4 on the way. Theoretically, this could be the last play of the half, depending on what happens here for the Wildcats. Tight end left, receiver to each side, passing play again. Reynolds wants to throw, wants to go long. Hanging up in the air, it'll fall out of bounds, incomplete. Threw it a full 30 or 40 yards in the air. It was a good pass, just not on target.
That play was designed for Quantez Terry, their fullback. But that ball was never in play.
Yeah, that's kind of an old-school football play there. Sneak the fullback out of the backfield and throw it to him, because normally you don't think of your fullback as a passing target.
And you generally don't call that play 30 yards downfield either. But that's just me. I'm not Farrell Edmonds.
And Edmonds is on that opposing sideline. He's going to call this play. This time they'll hand it to the fullback. A little more successful as he dives his way across the 45-yard line. First down yardage picked up there. 11.2 seconds left now in the half. Wildcats, they look like they want to hurry up there and run at least one more play before the half ends. They do have timeouts, and they are going to call one now. So we'll take the timeout with them. Clock ran all the way down to 3.9 seconds left, so we've got one more play left in the first half. 14-0 Colonel's lead. Make sure you come on back to 105.5 KD Country.
Brother needs a pickup, sister wants a ride. Uncle needs a sports car to keep him satisfied. Mama, she wants comfort, luxury and style. And Daddy, he just wants a deal that's gonna make him smile. Everybody's happy, you can hear them all say, we're glad we went to Fellas Chevrolet. Competition for all dealers in Central VA. A short drive will save you money. Fellas Chevrolet in Alta Vista.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
8 seconds.
Final stages of the Apple Market second quarter. Subway halftime show features a whole selection of guests up here, Oscar. It's going to be good. We'll talk some Alta Vista golf. We'll talk whatever else you want to talk on the Subway halftime show as well. They put a few seconds left on the clock, 8 seconds to be exact. And Dan River will have 1st and 10 with 8 seconds to go. Far hash mark. They want to pass again. Reynolds throwing over the middle, looking for Edmonds. He's caught it, and he's dragged down at the 32-yard line. Big pickup there for Edmonds and the Wildcats. Hit him on target. Michi Malback and Juan Thornhill were there on the stop, but this gives Dan River a legitimate chance to strike for some points here with just 3.4 seconds left. They'll take their final time out of the half. Let's keep it here, why don't we, since we just took one. Obviously, your main job is Alta Vista's defense right now. Keep them out of the end zone with 3.4 seconds left.
Well, and you got to make sure that you don't have a pass interference penalty either.
Sure.
You got to, those are the two things. Keep them out of the end zone and don't have a pass interference call. You go to the halftime with a 14-0 lead, and you'll take that.
And this is certainly a situation that you practice, a situation that the Colonels have had before, whether you want to call it a prevent defense or whatever you want to call it. You'll probably have an extra safety back there. The cornerbacks will probably give them a full 10 or 12-yard cushion. Now, that being said, sometimes team can score on that underneath route, too, and you give a team a lot of space when you back your secondary up like that. So it's a tricky situation for a defense.
Both Edmonds and Stevens are legitimate threats, even if they catch the ball in front of them to break tackles and power the way into the end zone. Big play here for the Colonels.
It is. 2 safeties back there for Alta Vista. Looks like number 20, Mateo Malback, is joining Thornhill back deep. Reynolds wants to throw again. He does lob up into the end zone. Malback on the interception. Looks like Mateo Malback on the interception. Catches it and falls into the end zone. Half runs out, but add another interception to the stat column for Alta Vista. And a good defensive stand there as well. Subway halftime show on the way with the Colonels' 14-0 lead over Dan River on 105.5 KD Country.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch & Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
There's always something special at your area Apple Markets. This month, enjoy delicious pumpkin spice coffee, cappuccino, and lattes for a limited time only. Hurry into an Apple Market and get a free Monster Energy poster with the purchase of 2 Monster Energy products. 5-hour energy drinks are now 2 for $5, and Nestle Pure Life Water 20-pack just $3.99 at Apple Markets, Riverside, Gateway, and Main Street, Alta Vista. Stop by an Apple today.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Alta Vista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Alta Vista. El Cazador thanks you for your business.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Subway halftime show begins here from Alta Vista High School. Colonel's sporting the 14-0 lead, and fortunately I kicked Oscar out of the press box here, and I got 2 real gentlemen up here now. I always hate to call Oscar a gentleman because it's just not true. The Alta Vista golf team is in full swing, playoff time, in fact, postseason golf. gotta work around the weather, and I have with me Mr. John Cogsdale and Mr. Hampton Maddox, two fine members of the golf team. And guys, hard to believe you guys are in the playoffs already, but state tournament coming up, right?
Yes, sir.
Tracy Merritt. So, Hampton, John, tell me a little bit about how the season has gone. I know you guys get started early in August when it's hot. Now it's starting to get cool. Talk just a little bit about your season as, it's pretty much winding down, just the one tournament left. You feel like you've had a good year?
Yes, sir. Started out kind of slow, but then the last few matches we came back and got a few wins and got a little momentum going into the postseason with the conference tournament and then region tournament as well.
And I know I saw you guys up at London Downs getting a practice session in. I know you've really worked hard on your games this year. Hampton, is that a trait of this team? Is it the work ethic that has helped you guys get where you're at?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Everybody on the team has a great work ethic. Everybody works hard at what they do. Definitely a team effort.
And I know. And that's what you need. It's a strange game, golf, because it's an individual game, but you are part of a team. So sometimes that's a tough concept for people to grasp. Let me just ask you to run down the team a little bit, and I'll get some thoughts from you guys on different members of the team. We talk about the work ethic. Who's somebody maybe can't use yourselves though? Somebody other than you two. Who's the guy with the best work ethic on the team? Who would you say maybe most improved golfer, if you will?
We actually had one guy turn up and just have been playing really good lately. Brian Gillespie, a freshman, and last two matches of the year, shot 241s, which is really good, and helped us actually beat Appomattox, who is playing in the 2A West tournament coming up, same place we're at.
Go ahead, Ham.
Then in the regional tournament, he was able to shoot 80, really contributed to the team. Came out of nowhere early in the year, he wasn't playing as well, but in the year, he showed up, played well, contributed to the team, really helped us come away, establish ourselves at the conference tournament.
That's great. That's what you need, guys stepping up. And tell me the other guys on the team. Give the rundown. Of course, with me right now on the Subway halftime show is Hampton Maddox and John Cogsdale. Run down the other members of the golf team, if you would, guys.
We got Scooter Duff. He's a sophomore. He's our number 2. Ethan Maddox, Hampton's brother. He's our number 4, junior. Matt Dowdy, he's our number 5. He's a sophomore as well. Then we got Brian, who we stated earlier, Brian Gillespie. He's a freshman, which has contributed well to the team this year. Then we got Ethan Cogsdale. He's a sophomore as well. Charles Counts, he's a junior. Forrest Taylor, he's a junior. And then we have Brandon Walker, who's a senior, and Drew Whaley, who's a senior.
And I know your coach, Mr. Louis Bryant, he's one of those guys, he's been around a while, but he's still got that young fire, and I know he kind of helps mellow you guys out, right? Plus he provides that old school wisdom every now and then when he needs to, correct?
Yes, sir. He's always there to give you a little motivation when you're not playing too well, which sometimes happens.
Well, it's golf. It happens to everybody, right?
It happens all the time. That's definitely for sure.
Well, one final tournament left, and that's the state tournament. You guys and William Campbell, who I know you guys have a friendly rivalry with. You guys both qualified for that, so you're on the way down there to, I guess it's near Bristol, correct? The final, the state tournament?
Abingdon. Yes,
okay,
sir.
And when is that? Give us the details on that.
That's Monday and Tuesday at Glen Roki Country Club in Abingdon.
Okay. Playing a practice round this weekend, I guess? Is that what you guys are doing?
Sunday we're going down.
And I'm sure, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I'm sure the plan is to compete and try and win it, right?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate having you on. John Cogsdale, Hampton Maddox, Altavista golf team. They're headed to the state tournament Monday and Tuesday. We'll take a timeout and bring it back. More Subway halftime show on 105.5 KD Country.
Stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, on the ready to keep you comfortable year-round. Locally owned and operated, just a call away, with over 20 years experience. Licensed and bonded, Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, specializing in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical, any season, anytime. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Give them a call today. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, Gretna.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Virginia are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Brought to you by English Construction Company, Main Street, Altavista.
Hi, I'm Tracy Robinson of First National Bank. Did you know there are great home mortgage opportunities available right now? With rates being at an all-time low and 100% financing, our recognized mortgage lenders will deliver the right loan for your needs. Put this together with our other progressive mortgage products, our fast local service, and we're ready to lend. First National Bank, over 100 years of dependable custom banking. For you and your money, that's important. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Couldn't be having any more fun if we tried up here in the press box at Altavista High School. The host Colonels are on top 14-0 over the Dan River Wildcats. Hampton and John have graciously allowed Mr. Oscar Briggs to return to the press box. Oscar, you're a golfer. I know you've seen that golf team in action a little bit out there at the country club and various points in between. They got a good group out there.
And young. I mean, when you went down the list of the golf players, they are young and promise. They've got a promising future. We do get to see them out at the club, at Altavista Country Club. There's an agreement between the Altavista Country Club and the high school to promote the youth golf. And those kids, day in, day out, show their class. Lewis Bryant's done a great job teaching them the rules of the game, how to play with honor, how to play it right, how to take care of the golf course, replacing their divots and fixing ball marks. It's a win-win, and it's great to see them go to the state tournament again.
Yeah, it is. And I mentioned William Campbell, of course, having a great year as well, led by their young stud, Josiah Singleton. They look to be a force there in that state tournament. And like I said, though, anytime the Colonels tee it up, they got a chance to win it. Colonels are teeing it up here on the gridiron. They got a 14-0 lead. And you know what it's time for, Oscar? One of our favorite times, the Highview halftime highlights. Couple to choose from there, though, but I have a feeling maybe that 16-yard Juan Thornhill run is going to be included. We'll just have to see. Here you go. The Highview halftime highlights brought to you by Highview Motors, GMC, and Altavista. We're going to sprint out to his right on the pass. Now he'll come back across the field to his left, still looking downfield. Avoids a couple tacklers. He's across the 40, across the 45, still on his feet. Look at the Magic Man go. Flag comes out. Juan's across the 40, still on his feet across the 30. Maulback getting out in front to block. Juan Thornhill's going to jog it into the end zone for a touchdown. But I mentioned that flag came out. Maulback is in the backfield with Juan Thornhill. Two receivers to each side. 3rd and 1. Thornhill goes the hard count. Again, now the snap comes back to him. Fakes it to Maulback. He's going to run it himself. He's off right tackle. He's got some room. He's across the 5, diving in the end zone. Touchdown, Juan Thornhill. Right behind Stephen Farmer as a blocking back. Farmer was the lead block on the last play. Juan's headed that direction again, diving towards the end zone. Wait for a signal. Touchdown, Altavista Colonels. Juan Thornhill again.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in and bring the family and see your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Well, the Highview halftime highlights complete. We'll do it all again in the Subway postgame show, of course. And don't forget, win with Subway, Oscar. We're not going to do it now. You're going to have to wait to the Subway postgame show for that. But again, if you don't know what it is, we give you the code word. You become the first person to post it on our Facebook page. And you win a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subway and Altavista. I went with the egg white and cheese again today on the flatbread. I'm on a little bit of a vegetarian kick, except for the days I eat barbecue and steak and ham, fat back, and all that other stuff. But on those days that I don't, I'm on a vegetarian kick. What'd you go with, Oscar?
I went with the big Philly cheesesteak. You can't go wrong with that.
No, that's great.
As if there isn't enough reason to stay and listen to the ball game tonight. It's 14-0. We got a good ball game here tonight. Very, very tight, very competitive ball game.
Yeah, scoring recap at the Subway halftime show is sometimes not that easy. Tonight it is a little bit easier. Juan Thornhill's 16-yard touchdown run. You heard that one on the Highview halftime highlights. And then a 2-yard touchdown run. You heard that one as well. So both scores coming at the feet of number 11, Juan Thornhill.
And in the second quarter, no score in the first quarter. The first touchdown was right at 6 minutes left in the quarter, and then the other one with under a minute left. So the Colonels came on late. Dan River had a ton of success running the ball tonight in the first half. When they went to their power game, getting 4, 5, 6 yards at a chunk, Colonels did a good job of bending, and when it came down to it, shutting them down and forcing them to either punt or either turn the ball over on down. So great job by that Colonels defense against really what's an offensive line from Dan River that outsizes the Colonels.
Yeah, that's a pretty good O-line. There's a good group of running backs in the backfield for the Wildcats, and you're absolutely right. They ripped off 4 and 5, 6 yards at a chunk, and it looked like they were going to be hard to stop, but the Colonels did. They employed the bend but don't break. I can think of a couple big backfield tackles by Dante Poindexter. Demetrius Johnson was in on a few. Darius Johnson, of course, in on some too. Stephen Farmer, Wayne Short were all in that Wildcat backfield when time presented itself. But, again, this is a potent Dan River offense. And we've seen Reynolds control a little bit as well. So this is not something that's going to be easy for the Colonels. We'll step aside. One more time out on the Subway halftime show. We'll bring it back, give you some scores from around the area, and maybe some final thoughts what to expect in the second half of this one. Colonels leading 14-0 at the half on 105.5 KD Country.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass, I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Perkins Tire and Auto Service in Chatham. And we do mean service, because Perkins Tire will pick up and deliver your vehicle. Call Perkins Tire in Chatham, 434-432-1100, 432-1100. Whether you need brand name tires or service, call Calvin, Stanley, or Frankie at Perkins Tire and Service Center on Highway 29 in Tight Squeeze, just south of Chatham. Perkins Tire and Service Center, your authorized Michelin tire dealer.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway halftime show concluding 53 years of outstanding high school sports here on 105.5 KD Country. You've got the VAB awards to prove it there, Oscar. And Altavista taking a long time in the locker room here at halftime. Maybe that's a sign. I don't know if it's quite the fire and brimstone speech in there from Coach Sharness and the guys, but Colonels are usually back out warming up by this point.
Well, they've gone through the standard halftime and a little bit extra, and now there's a 3-minute warm-up period that they allow after halftime, and the Colonels still aren't out on the field. Farrell Edmonds is not happy about it, was just having a conversation with the officials. And that's his prerogative. Obviously, feels like Altavista is getting a little bit of a home field advantage. They've been through their calisthenics. They're ready to go.
Sure, they are ready to go. The warm-up clock, you get a warm-up period after the regular halftime, is down to under 2 minutes. Still no Colonels to be found, although we do see some coaches have come out of the locker room, so that's probably a sign. I think, the only issue would be you just throw a 15-yard flag for delay a game, and you keep doing that until the other team shows up and is ready to play. But
boy, that's not going to make Farrell happy. The official just signaled the clock keeper to give 3 minutes warm up and crank it up and go. So
you're right.
It's just a tip of the hat to the clock keeper, Jimmy Mundy, from the head official. Right.
Of course, Mr. Mundy, always a class act. We don't let anybody but class acts up here in the press box. That's why we had Hampton.
Andy McCracken's here.
Yeah, good point. We had Hampton and John on from the golf team earlier. And they might be bringing back some hardware on Tuesday night. You never know. State tournament down there in Bristol on Monday and Tuesday. That's a 2-round event for the golfers there. Colonels are doing some warm-ups there in the end zone now, so they're going to get some time to get ready. It's a 14-0 Altavista lead, Oscar, and I mentioned some scores from around the area. Altavista's opponent last week, the Gretna Hawks, there at halftime. They lead 14-6 over the old Campbell County neighbor, William Campbell. So anybody's ball game there. Heritage up 8-6 on Rustburg. Jefferson Forest 27-0 lead over Amherst. Brookville up 21-0 over Glass. I'm pretty sure those are all halftime scores. And Chatham 21-0 lead over Nelson County right now. So look around the area, look around the dogwood, if you will. Pretty much got everybody covered there. And you see a couple close games and then a couple shutouts at halftime. We have a shutout here. I'm going to say, I'm going to use the old cliche, it feels a little bit closer than the scoreboard indicates, though, doesn't it, Mr. Briggs?
Well, it does, and we talked about it. For 18 minutes there was no score, and the Colonels were able to get to the end zone twice in the last 6 minutes of the half. And I'm telling you, the Colonels were late getting out on the field, and they don't have that spark that they've had. They look, Coach Sharness alluded to them being beat up and nicked up, and they certainly look it right now. This is a difficult stretch. We talked about it last year. It's the same thing again this year. That Galax, Appomattox, Gretna, Dan River. And last year, I believe Chatham was actually in that group as well, followed up as well. Next weekend, no picnic either. You got to go to Nelson County. And that's always a tough trip.
Yeah, typically, not just the Colonels, but typically nobody seems to play well up there at Nelson. Maybe it's the long drive, who knows. But
I know. It's that Sasquatch.
It's the Sasquatch out there hanging around in those Blue Ridge Mountains up there. But anyway, we digress. Always fun to go up to Lovingston and tee it up there in Nelson County. Tonight, of course, we are at home, the Altavista Colonels. Getting ready to take the field. They'll have to kick off. Dan River won the toss, deferred. So, it's a chance we could have ourselves a one-score game after this Dan River drive is over with. 14-0 is your Colonel lead right now. Halftime is officially over. Make sure you stick around after the game. Subway post-game show will feature Win with Subway, your chance to win a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subways in Altavista.
A little bit of exchange I'm going to talk about. I didn't mention earlier, but the initial, after the coin toss, Altavista went to shake the hands of Dan River players, and Dan River, again, nothing unsportsmanlike, maybe a little gamesmanship. One stuck his hand out, and the Dan River players took off. So kind of left him hanging. One looked like it fired him up a little bit, but anyway.
Which is generally something you don't want to do, at least in my memory serves me correctly. I'd rather keep Juan Thornhill as low-key as possible if I was one of his opponents, but a low-key Juan is still better than most guys anyway, so you never know. There's no good answer as far as defending Mr. Juan Thornhill goes.
And this Dan River Altavista rivalry, whether it be football or basketball, has always been very spirited, but nothing really trashy.
Excellent point. Yeah, a lot of big-time basketball games between these two teams, and a lot of these guys do play both sports and play some other sports as well. Walker Allen on for the kickoff here. This one will land on about the 6-yard line. Handle was not grabbed cleanly there momentarily by Curtis Stevens, but now he's got a full head of steam, and he's across the 20, the 25, dropped right around the 30-yard line. So solid return there after the initial miscue by Stevens, and the Wildcats will take over with solid field position. 11:54 remaining in the Apple Market third quarter. It's a 14-0 Altavista lead.
I like the miscue by Q Stevens on that. That's a nice
wow.
call. That's
I didn't even do that intentionally.
That's a nice
Somebody
call.
that would not do that intentionally, who's got the presence of mind and the snazziness to do that, Bob Alvis. Courtesy, the score is courtesy of Bob Alvis, and Bob helped me do a little homework last night. We talked a little baseball. We decided Harold Baines was not a switch hitter. Busted play here for Dan River on first down. Reynolds going to take off and try and run. Had some blocking, and now a flag is going to come out. I think one of those blocks was illegal. Boy, he took a hard hit. Devontae Clark coming in there to clean him up. Dante Poindexter was in the area.
And Reynolds turned to the left to hand off, and there was nobody home.
Not a good feeling.
No. He had nobody to hand off to.
That is Jovian Reynolds, maybe Jovian. We could just call him Joe Reynolds as well. Whatever you call him, he's a solid quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's done a nice job running this Dan River offense. But that time, like you said, no running back was where they were supposed to be. Or at least where he thought they were.
That is a spot foul, and it was 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And it has been declined.
Yep.
So it brings up second, and we'll call it 13.
Yeah, it was a tackle for a loss anyway. My buddy Eric Hall down there at Gretna helping out with some Hawks scores as well. Second and 13 on the way. Shotgun formation. Reynolds has a back right behind him. He wants to swing it out to the left to Edmonds. Edmonds caught, and he is hit hard right around the thigh pad. Michi Malback coming in low, dropping Edmonds in his tracks. Excellent hard-hitting tackle right there by Mr. Michi Malback.
For 2 years, we've seen teams decide that they're going to use that as a mismatch. Michi only listed at 5'8". That's probably pushing it. But we've seen people try to use that as a mismatch.
Yep.
Don't underestimate, number one, his athletic ability, or number two, the drive that young man has.
Excellent point. Michi Malback, you might be able to get away with throwing on him over there in his direction some, but eventually you're going to get burned. That time, Edmonds got burned with some pain. They're going deep again. They're looking for Edmonds again. Oh, they're going to flag Malback. Malback and Edmonds got tangled up. We were just talking about number one, Michi Malback. Pass was way overthrown, not even catchable, and I think they're going to flag Malback for pass interference. They just got tangled up, incidental contact, and maybe they'll talk it over. But I've got a bad feeling like this is going to go against the Colonels.
Yeah, it is. It is going against the Colonels. And what would have been a third down play now gives a first and 10 after they mark off that 15-yard pass interference play.
Well,
call.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to come to the defense of the official. It's hard for him to know how much that slowed Edmonds down, and it's hard for him to know who initiated the contact. He just sees both guys kind of tripping over each other, and then the ball sailing high incomplete.
Well,
so it's not an easy call.
And the fact that it happened over on the left-hand side of the field, on the Dan River side of the field, and you got an all-pro, an ex-all-pro head coach yelling in your ear, pass interference doesn't help either.
Hey, that's part of the game right there. Now the officials will stop the clock momentarily. They want to talk something over. Spot was incorrect. It will be a fresh set of downs here for Dan River. 10:56 remaining in the Apple Market third quarter. Three great locations in Altavista, Oscar. Gateway, Main Street, Riverside.
And that's what the officials are talking about, is exactly that. Which Apple Market are they going to after the game?
That's it. You want to go Gateway? You want to go? Well, I like Riverside because, yeah, absolutely. Great specials at all three of them. And they've got everything to make your weekend perfect.
Opening drive of the second half. Colonels lead 14-0. 10:56 remaining here in the third quarter.
If you joined us late, it was a defensive battle in the first half. Juan Thornhill, 2 rushing touchdowns is the difference. Handoff goes to Q Stevens again. Stevens hit hard by Destin Brown. Brown, first man on the spot, hit him with the shoulder tackle. Rest of the team came in there. Stevens never went to the ground, but his momentum was stopped, and he'll have little to no gain there after the big stick by Destin Brown.
Donovan Montague in there, Wayne Short as well. Again, we continue to see for the last 3 years that this Colonel defense, when you hit one, all the rest of the players fly the ball.
Absolutely. Shotgun formation again. Reynolds has got the fullback beside him, tailback right behind him in the pistol formation. They'll hand it to the tailback. Stevens broke a couple tackles, headed outside, not going to break those. Yes, he is going to break those. He's across the first down marker, across the 30, across the 20, foot race to the end zone. He will win it. Touchdown, Dan River. No, he stepped out of bounds around the 10-yard line. Q Stevens, I thought for sure he was going to the ground there. He got met by 2 or 3 Colonels, Oscar. He just ran right out of those tackles.
Boy, Demetrius Johnson had a good chance at him, grabbed him around the ankles, and about the same time he got blocked by a Dan River defender. They're going to mark that right at the looked like right outside the 10-yard line. which would make it possible for them to get a first down. Colonels look tired.
I'm not going to disagree with you. It looks like it's going to be 1st and goal from the 10-yard line exactly. No first down possible. Curtis Q. Stevens doing the damage there for the Wildcats. Shotgun formation, pistol formation with a back right behind Reynolds. Reynolds will hand it to that tailback again. Shifting is through, headed away to the goal, headed to the goal line. I got tongue-tied there as the running back breaking some tackles, heading towards the end zone. Jaquan Durant, the back in question there for Dan River. Short of the end zone, got it to about the 3 or the 4 yard line.
It did, and Dan River continues to play power football, and that's where they've had the most success.
Wildcats, shotgun formation again. It looks like Durant back behind the quarterback again. Fullback to Reynolds right, 2 receivers to the left. They'll hand it to Durant again, heading towards the end zone, stopped short. Altavista clogging up that hole. Durant did gain about 1 or 2 yards, though. They're powering their way towards that end zone.
Yep.
Ball looks like it's on about the 1.5, Oscar.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Kyle. Looks like it's on about the 1.5 yard line, if the one existed.
Easy for us to say. 3rd and goal on the way. Same formation. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Fullback to the quarterback's right. Tailback right behind the quarterback. And it looks like foot-to-foot up splits up front by the Dan River O-line. Real tight. They'll hand it to Durant again.
No,
Durant
sir.
stopped in the backfield. Altavista, great penetration. First man on the scene looked like Juan Thornhill, even though number 6, Demetrius Johnson, was the guy that got the tackle.
And Ethan Young got up from Dan River and shoved one of the Altavista players coming out of that scrum. Similar situation as to what happened a couple weeks ago with Clydell Moon.
Timeout, Wildcats. They want to talk it over here. 4th and goal on the way when you come back. Colonels lead 14-0 on 105.5 KD Country.
For a storm door that offers style and convenience, come to English's Building Supply in Altavista for a Pella self-storing storm door. These doors feature screens that are always there when you need them. And Pella's self-storing storm doors are backed by Pella's lifetime storm door protection plan. Come by English's Building Supply. See the full line of Pella storm doors.
English's is your complete home center.
Get a $15 mail-in rebate during October.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
14-0, Altavista Colonels leading, 8:48 to go left in the 3rd quarter. Oscar, biggest play of the ball game by far coming up. Dan River has a 4th and goal from the 2 yard line on the way here.
Biggest play of the ball game, and one of the bigger plays that the Colonels have faced all year.
I would agree. That's a great point. I mean, the Colonels haven't really had many close games, haven't had really any close games that were close in the 3rd quarter. So this is it right here. Let's see if the Altavista defense can get a big stop. Shotgun formation again for Dan River. They've got 2 backs behind the quarterback. Call this the double pistol maybe. Hand it off to the tailback. That's Stevens. Stevens is in the end zone. Touchdown. He found some room over there to the left side and just skirted right through that Altavista defense. 14-6 is your score. Flags come out late. A little bit of extracurriculars in the end zone. There is a full 3 flags on the play because one referee who wasn't even close to the play dropped a flag down over here. Now
and
another
a
hat came out. You're right. That's somebody that has already thrown a flag. The entire Dan River team walking over to their bench here, walking over to Coach Farrell Edmonds. I don't know who the penalty's on, but I'm suspecting it's against the Wildcats.
You may have 1 or 2. You may have one that are.
That's a good point.
May have offsetting,
Yeah.
and you may have a second one on Dan River. That would be my guess, and that's pure speculation
Sure.
at this point from me.
Well, either way, it was a 4th and goal from the 2 yard line. They gave it to Curtis Stevens. He tried the left side, and there was an opening. He dove it into the end zone. First score of the night for Dan River. I would assume it's going to stand because to me it looked like all those flags came after the play. This would get added on to the extra point or maybe even the kickoff. Just wait and see. Officials are still talking it over.
And they're they're getting the Altavista players, they were in the end zone.
Yeah.
Now they're telling them to. I don't know what's going on. We're getting ready to find out.
Yeah. False start on Dan River. That will wipe the touchdown off and back them up 5 yards. How big is that?
Boy,
and
Farrell,
that is a flag that I didn't see come out normally when a false start penalty comes out.
I'm going to tell you, Alta Vista got a sideline warning earlier.
Yeah.
Coach Farrell Edmonds is out. He's at midfield.
Oh, yeah. He is all the way out at midfield. And here comes Coach Mike Sharness. They've called Coach Sharness out. The official wants to talk to both guys. So this is obviously one that needs some explaining if you've got to explain it to both coaches. Dan River players are incredulous. They cannot believe it. And just from a innocent bystander's perspective, I'm not sure you can blame him, because if there's a false start, you got to believe that flag comes out earlier. Maybe the guy that saw it couldn't get the flag out. That happens sometimes.
Boy, I don't know. Given the benefit of the doubt, and again, this is an Alta Vista High School. Katy Country is an Alta Vista. We cover the Colonels.
Right.
I did not see the flag come out until the shenanigans started.
Right.
So.
Official signals false start again. No other penalties were given. So, again, that's a strange situation, Oscar, to have like 3 or 4 different officials throwing flags, but then just have a false start called.
Flags, a hat. This is, let's face it, this is not a good break for Dan River.
No, not at all. And that is odd. That is an odd series of events there.
And again, I'm an Alta Vista guy. We cover the Colonels. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange to see that many flags out after a play happens and then call a false start. Dan River will have another 4th down attempt. This could be all for naught if they get in the end zone again. They won't have much complaining.
If I'm Farrell Edmonds, I call a timeout. I want to settle these kids.
No, I'm with you there.
Because that's got to be extremely rattling to have that happen.
Yeah, you're right. Same formation. 2 backs behind the quarterback. 4th and goal on the way. They're going to pass it this time. Reynolds looking in the end zone. Throws it. Intercepted. It is intercepted by Donovan Montague on the 4-yard line. He gets it out to the 6. What a big play by Donovan Montague and the Alta Vista defense. They preserve the shutout. 14-0. They'll take over on about the 6-yard line. 8:37 left to go in the Apple Market. 3rd quarter, Oscar.
Boy, what a backbreaker that is.
No
Dan
kidding.
River going to come out, take the opening kickoff in the second half, drive downfield, have an apparent touchdown, only to have it called back by a late flag.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy, is that disheartening if you're a Dan River person.
I echo what you said. We're obviously Alta Vista fans. We follow them. We do all their games, but you got to feel for the Wildcats just a little bit. I mean, if you're a football fan, you got to feel for him. Juan Thornhill, his heels are on the 1-yard line, so Alta Vista's in the shadow of their own goalpost. He gives it to Destin Brown. Brown going outside. What a big block by Demetrius Johnson. Destin Brown picks up about 4 or 5, finally slung to the ground. Demetrius Johnson was flying around that football field looking for somebody to clean house on, and he found
an innocent. Demetrius and Darius both look, again, I've talked about it, they look flat, they look tired, but play again. We've called the Johnson brothers tonight,
yes.
And he absolutely leveled the Dan River player on that edge.
You are correct. 2nd and 4 on the way for Alta Vista from the far hash mark. They put Maul back in motion. Thornhill's going to keep it himself. He gets maybe back to the line of scrimmage. That was actually Jamal Thornhill that they put in motion. 3rd down coming on the way here for Alta Vista. 3rd and 5. 7:47 remaining in the Apple Market 3rd quarter. It's a 14-0 Alta Vista lead.
Shout out to Surfside Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth Parrish and Cindy Parrish listening down there. Hello, ladies.
Don't know how we could ever go a broadcast without mentioning Surfside Beach and the fantastic people down there. 3rd and 5 on the way for the Alta Vista Colonels. Far hash mark. They'll snap this ball from about the 12-yard line. They need to get to the 16 or 17 for a 1st down. Thornhill running the option off left tackle. Nothing there. He's just going to ride himself to the ground there. Didn't want to take a chance on the pitch there. And possibly a fumble. This will bring up 4th and 3 for the Colonels. Got to punt the ball away here. Good stop by Dan Rivers, especially after they got so deflated like they did.
Boy, that's the point I was getting ready to make. You took the words right out of my mouth. Great job by the Dan River defense after having that touchdown pulled back from them to be able to stop the Colonels 3 and out, and really going to end up with good field position.
Walker Allen back to punt. He is standing in the end zone. He's about 1 foot deep in the end zone. So this is danger territory here. Snap is pretty good. He catches it about head high and kicks it away. Good high hanging punt. It's going to go past the return man. It'll take a Dan River bounce, but still a great kick. Flips the field. Dan River will start on their own 47-yard line after a very, very nice Walker Allen kick.
40-yard punt. It was right at 40, 38-yard punt with no return, and the ball, he turned the ball over. If the field's dry, that thing, if it bounces the other way, rolls 10, 15 yards out. Great job. It was 10 yards behind the defender.
Yep, and the return man there, I want to say it was Jaquan Durant. He made a nice play. He faked the fair. Well, he didn't fake the fair catch signal. He gave the getaway signal, and that sort of held the Altavista offense, or Altavista coverage team a little bit, I should say. 1st and 10 for the Dan River Wildcats. Handoff play again, stuffed in the backfield. And Dante Poindexter, he didn't make the tackle. He just threw the offensive lineman into the ball carrier, and that made the tackle.
He absolutely blew the Dan River player up. He had him 4 yards back in the backfield and just slammed him into the ball carrier. The running back had nowhere to go. What a dominant play that was by Dante Poindexter.
That is impressive. That's one that you save and you put on your defensive line play clinic tape right there, and you show that. He just drove the offensive lineman in the backfield, and then the offensive lineman's butt ended up making the tackle. Shotgun formation now, 2nd and long here for Dan River. 2 receivers to each side. Option play coming for them to the left. Stevens pitches it away to Durant. Durant will get dragged down around the numbers over there on the far side. 3 or 4 yard pickup. Altavista defense was coming with a full head of steam there, weren't they, Oscar?
They really were, and I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. A little bit rattled myself after that exchange of plays. Wow. 5 minutes, 5:23 remaining here in the third quarter. Colonel's leading 14-0 in a very, very good football game.
Fun game to watch. One of the bigger ones we've had in a while, too. 3rd and 11 on the way. Far hash mark. Dan Rivers got to get all the way to the other 44-yard line. Stevens flushed out of the pocket. He'll get dropped now. Another defensive play by the Altavista defense. Darius Johnson doing the honors on the sack for the Colonels.
Boy, the Brothers Johnson.
The Brothers Johnson coming up big in this game. 4:50 remaining in the third quarter. Dan River going to have to kick it away, trailing 14-0 after the big sack by Darius Johnson.
Long for the Wildcats. Thornhill deep for the Colonels.
Historically, Michi's been back receiving the punts. Juan back in his spot now, and I'm sure that's in a rotation, trying to get Michi some rest.
Punt rush was on there by the Altavista Colonels. This kick is a line drive. It actually hit the first down marker over there on the far sideline. So that's probably where Altavista will take over. That's on the 43-yard line of the Altavista Colonels. They'll scrimmage with 4:25 left on the clock in the third quarter. 14-0 Colonel lead.
And we haven't seen Donovan Montague in at quarterback yet tonight. May not. Right now, Michi Malbeck doing it running back, giving Destin that rest.
Yeah, Destin has had a lot of rest here tonight. Normally it's a place Clydell Moon might be in, and you're right, Donovan Montague not playing any quarterback yet so far here tonight. And you heard Coach Sharnes compliment him in the pregame interview about what a good job he did last week. Bunch formation over here to the left for the Altavista Colonels. Thornhill is running that way. Runs out of a shoulder tackle, runs out of a leg tackle, runs all the way across the 50-yard line before he stopped. Good hard running by Juan Thornhill. And how about Tyler Kofer getting out front there? Number 70 leading the charge out on the edge there for the Colonels.
Michi Malbeck as well. And, again, good job by Kofer getting out on that edge and leading Juan. And Juan looks like he's starting. It's Juan Thornhill time. He may decide to take this game over.
I would agree with you. He's one of those rare guys that has that ability to do that, too. We've seen it time and time again. Pistol formation with Michi Malbeck lined up right behind the aforementioned Juan Thornhill. Near side hash mark. They'll snap it from the 49-yard line. 2 receivers to each side. Juan fakes the handoff. Now he wants to run. In behind the pulling guard. Now he's going to dance it outside. Juan still on his feet, turning the corner. Brought down by a solid solo tackle there by the Wildcats. It was enough for a first down, though. And Juan Thornhill, like you said, might be in that mode here where he's just going to put his foot on the gas and do his thing.
He picked up 8 on that play, Kyle, and it looked like he was going to pick up maybe 2, just get the first down. You talked to last week. You kept calling him different magician names or whatever, but more and more, it's becoming almost a Houdini routine. He was trapped and was able to escape. Great play by Juan.
Now you don't. Juan Thornhill, 1st and 10 now for the Altavista Colonels. They'll bunch up the receivers again, put one of them in motion. That's Michi Malbeck. They hand it to him. Malbeck, wide receiver sweep, going nowhere. Stopped in the backfield by number 13. Good hit there, Zamar Anderson.
No surprise that Anderson was the one. He read that play, that little jet sweep option, whatever, and Meachie was never able to even turn up field. Was still running parallel to the line of scrimmage, and Anderson got into the backfield, dropped him for about a 3.5, 4-yard loss.
Call it 2nd and 13. Those are the big plays that Dan River is going to need if they want to come back in this ball game here, as Altavista really doing a nice job controlling the ball. That football did get loose on a couple times. Destin Brown had to run down a fumble that he had. Juan Thornhill bobbled that little 3rd and short snap, but he got it back. So Altavista's been fortunate in that regard. Play clock down to 15 now. Altavista looking to the sideline. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Lone receiver to the left is Malbeck. Juan was looking that way on the pass play, still looking that way. Now he wants to throw deep. Pass falls incomplete at the 15-yard line. Flag came out, and they may get an Altavista lineman for holding.
Maybe the aforementioned Tyler Kofer was in that area, and the flag landed almost at his feet. So that may be where they were looking.
Yep. Decision if you're Coach Farrell Edmonds and his staff, because it would bring up 3rd and long, or you can back them up even more. But you're going to give the Colonels more plays. It would repeat 2nd down. I think they're going to take the penalty and back them up. They are. I just, to me, I don't know. It would have been about 3rd and 13. This does make it 2nd and real long, though. First down markers all the way on the other 31. Colonels are going to snap this from their own 40. Got to go got to go a full 28 yards.
It's not 4th and 53 like they had the other night, but still, they've got a long way to go.
Timeout call by the Altavista Colonels. They want to talk about this 2nd and 28 situation. We'll talk it over, too, during the timeout. 14-0. Colonels lead. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter here on 105.5 KD Country.
Brother needs a pickup, sister wants a ride. Uncle needs a sports car to keep him satisfied. Mama, she wants comfort, luxury and style. And Daddy, he just wants a deal that's gonna make him smile. Everybody's happy, you can hear them all say, we're glad we went to Feller's Chevrolet. Competition for all dealers in Central VA. A short drive will save you money. Feller's Chevrolet in Altavista.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
2nd and long on the way for the Altavista Colonels. Oscar, I want to send a shout out here to a local guy, my buddy Earl.
My name is Earl.
You know him as the Sugar Daddy on the Honky Tonk Jukebox Show. Wednesdays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. on KD Country. Earl's playing all the stuff you never hear anymore. He's diving into the stories behind the songs. And I'll tell you, Aaron's Shopping Center and Sugar Daddy's got a big thing coming up. I'm going to keep it under wraps for just right now. We'll have a big announcement at some point.
4th and 28. If the Colonel's here, you want to pick up at least 15 or so so you can give Walker Allen a chance to punt the ball and pin that Dan River deep.
Yep. Thornhill, delay, going to hand it off to Destin Brown. Brown's got some room. Another flag comes out. Brown across the 50, the 45, knocked out of bounds in front of the Altavista bench. I've got a bad feeling about the flag, though. If you're a Colonel fan, it is going to be a hold on Altavista. Back-to-back holds right there, so that's not good.
We might have jinxed them when we said it's not 4th and 53. They're headed that way quickly. If they accept this penalty, which you got to believe they will, it'll bring up 2nd and 30. It was right at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 38 yards to go.
Let me say this about the Sugar Daddy, too. He knows football, Oscar. He coaches a little football, and he'll tell you, no good play calls here on 2nd and 32. There's just nothing in the playbook that you can dial up. But I'll tell you, if anybody's got the athletes to make up the deficit, it's the Altavista Colonels.
And the Colonels are flipping the field on themselves with these penalties right now. Coach Shaughness cannot be happy.
2 receivers to the right, 1 tight end to the right. So essentially you do have 3 receivers in that area. Passing play here on 2nd and long. Thornhill looking down left sidelines, looking for Malbeck. Malbeck got tangled up. Pass goes incomplete. Altavista fans cannot believe it because they thought there was pass interference. And certainly it was reminiscent of the time earlier where Malbeck got tangled up with the receiver, and they did call that one. They don't call this one. They'll bring up 3rd and 32.
And there was an official within 5 yards of that play, so he didn't see what the majority of the people on this side of the field saw.
It was a nice, tight, accurate spiral from Juan Thornhill down that left sideline, and it looked like Meachie was going to have a chance to run under it and make the grab, but he got bumped around out there.
Yeah. And bumped around is a good description.
3 receivers will go to the right again. Back is to Juan Thornhill's left. They'll snap this one left side hash mark from the 30-yard line. They got to go a long way, 32 yards to be in fact. Thornhill going to throw on the run. This will hang up. Might get picked off. No, it falls incomplete. There were 4 Dan River defenders around the area. Demetrius Johnson did his best to go up there and pull it down. And that was probably actually pretty fortunate for Altavista. That's about as close as Juan has come to throwing an interception this year, Oscar.
He did throw that up, and even if it would have been a great play if Altavista would come down, certainly wouldn't have been enough for the first down, but it certainly would have put the ball at the Dan River 40 as opposed to now Altavista's got it at their own 31-yard line.
4th and 32. Certainly a punting formation here. Walker Allen will come out. Juan Thornhill is the up back. Nobody back deep for Dan River, so maybe they're going to bring everybody. They do have one guy about 10 yards back. A little bit of a bad snap. Walker tracked it down. He gets off a great kick. This ball is going to take an Altavista roll across the 30, across the 25. It will stop on the 22-yard line. Big play by Walker Allen and really the entire punting unit there. You cannot underestimate the special teams advantage that Walker Allen gives the Colonels.
48-yard punt, no return, and in high school, that's a great job. Again, that ball was turned over. Farrell Edmonds took a gamble with his special team and sent everybody, had one player back about 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage in case Altavista tried something tricky. But boy, did Walker Allen come through under pressure. The snap was a little bit wide left. He had to step and take it. Did a great job of getting his feet back under him, stay composed, and turn the ball over. Great job by Walker Allen on that play.
Outstanding kick. Remind me to give you some Walker Allen numbers later on. I formation here on first down for the Wildcats. They'll hand it off again. Running back going to go left. Finally tracked down by Demetrius Johnson. I think it might have been Jaquan Durant. Again, I'm not sure. Number hard to see. There's Malcolm Ware, number 4 there, getting the handle that time. 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, Kyle, 1 minute remaining here in the third quarter. Colonel's leading 14-0. And again, with all the running plays, even with the penalties, this quarter's clicking by pretty quickly.
Certainly is, and it's still anybody's ball game. 2-score game here. Colonels lead 14-0. 2 Juan Thornhill rushing touchdowns in the first half. They hand it off again to Ware. Ware's going to get stopped up. No, I think that might be Q Stevens that time. Got it to the 30-yard line. They need to get to about the 32 for a first down. Altavista defense swarmed.
Demetrius Johnson on the bottom of that pile again.
I'll tell you, Dan River, you got to like the way they attack the line of scrimmage with these hard-hitting running plays. I mean, certainly if you're an old-school football fan, you do anyway.
Well, and you hear a lot of noise or talk about, I'll talk about it after this play.
Absolutely. Big third down coming, though. 3rd and 3 on the way here. Toss play going to go to Stevens. Altavista going to try and stop it. Stevens still on his feet. Now he's brought down short of the first down marker. Juan was in there. Demetrius Johnson was in there. Darius Johnson was in there. A lot of guys slowed him down. I'm not sure who finally brought him down, but a good team tackle there.
The criticism against this Altavista team that you hear from either social media or other teams is that they're quick and don't have the size and they're not strong, whatever. Don't let that fool you. We see them week in, week out. This is a very, very physical, strong Dan River offensive line, and Altavista is holding their own.
You're absolutely right. 3 quarters in the books. Altavista leading 14-0. Final frame on the way when you come back. 105.5 KD Country.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch & Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
Another big 4th down on the way for Dan River. They're in their own territory, and they look like they might be punting this football away, although to me the punt formation looks a little bit different, though, so you might want to expect a fake.
That's right. If I'm Coach Sharness, I'm watching for something funny here.
They do snap it back to the punter. He does kick it away. That's Malcolm Ware. He'll get this one off. It's not a very good punt. It went out of bounds again. They'll spot this at the 45-yard line in Dan River territory, so not exactly what Coach Edmonds was looking for. You couldn't have faulted him if he went for it on 4th and 3, but I don't think you can fault him the other way either. His defense hasn't performed bad.
We talked about Walker Allen. 48-yard punt for Altavista, a 15-yard punt for Dan River in that situation, and the field is flipped. Altavista's got the ball in great field position on the Dan River 45, 1st and 10. leading 14-0.
Excellent point. You see the advantage the special teams gives you. You see the advantage the kicking game gives you. Walker Allen, I've still got those numbers. I'm going to get to them here in a second. We're going to have a slow down and play where I'm going to be able to talk about them. Walker Allen is split out wide there up top, far side from us. Colonels will snap this on the near side hash mark. That's the right hash mark. They're going left to right from our perspective. 11:55 left, so almost a full quarter to play here. Colonels with the 2-touchdown lead. Thornhill will snap it. His back wasn't where he's supposed to be. Busted play here. Juan trying to spin out of a tackle, and he cannot. Brought down by Quantez Terry there on the tackle. That'll be a loss of 1 or 2.
And you don't see Juan. You don't see a lot of high school athletes do what Juan did. Juan just jumped up, patted his chest, and admitted, hey, that was my bad. He turned the wrong way on that play.
11:30 to go now in the football game. Apple Market fourth quarter. 14-0 lead here for the Altavista Colonels. Thornhill going to confer with Destin Brown a little bit this time, and you're right, he did take the blame for that last play. Looking over the defense, marking out the snap count on 2nd and long. He'll toss it out to Destin Brown. Brown's going to head left side, stopped, and he is stuffed in the backfield. Blocking just was not there. Too much penetration. Dan River had about 6 or 7 white jerseys in that Altavista backfield. They diagnosed that play and attacked it very well.
Well, we mentioned it in the first half. Altavista and Dan River very similar with the amount of athletes that they have, and you're not going to run wide consistently on this Dan River team. They're going to do just like they did on that play. They sealed the edge, got a ton of penetration on the outside. Altavista, again, 3rd down and about 17.
You said it. You're not going to run wide consistently on either of these two teams. You might be able to get away with it as sort of a change of pace or every once in a while type of play, but the main place you're going to gain yards is off tackle and in between the tackles. Thornhill needs to hurry. Altavista will have to call a timeout to stop the play clock. We'll take it with them. 10:26 remaining in the game. 3rd and long coming up for the Altavista Colonels. They lead 14-0 on 105.5 KD Country.
Here's more specials from your area Apple Market convenience stores. 32-ounce fountain drink, only 89 cents. Large coffee and fresh baked donut or Miss Freshly snack cake, just $1.99. Dr. Pepper and Cokes, 99 cents for the 2-liter size. And all-meat jumbo hot dog and 32-ounce drink, get both for $1.99. At the Apple Market locations, Riverside, Gateway, and Main Street, Altavista. You know what they say. Stop by the Apple today.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
So much good stuff going on in KD Country, Oscar. I mentioned the Honky Tonk Jukebox. You get the Bluegrass Show on Sundays. Brother Jay with the gospel on Sunday mornings. The Real Country all the time. And the Altavista Colonels. It's a fun place to be, 105.5, that is. Altavista, they've got the lead, although I'm not sure they're going to have much fun on this 3rd and long play. 3rd and 16 is what we'll call it. Certainly they have the ability to pick it up, but Dan River has defensively performed pretty well despite being down 14-0. This Dan River defense has done a much better job than most teams. Here comes the play. Juan Thornhill going to roll to his right, looking to pass. Flushed out of the pocket, hit hard, and brought down. Another loss of yardage there by Altavista. Dan River really swarming up front. They only brought 4 guys, or maybe 5 guys, maybe 1 linebacker blitzed, but Juan just had nowhere to go and had to eat the football.
Well, and he's gassed. I haven't seen him look like this since Galak's game last year. And again, Destin a little banged up, Caudell not available, and a very, very physical Dan River football game at the end of here with 9:50 remaining here in the ball game. Again, you got to have Walker Allen, hope that he can get off a good one here.
Walker Allen on to punt again. It's the most punting he's done this year, and perhaps even last year too. He'll kick it away again. It's another beauty. Dan River will not try and return it. It takes an Altavista bounce, but it will not stop. It goes into the end zone about 2 yards deep. Man, Walker is just knocking the ball around with that right leg. It'll start Dan River on the 20-yard line.
55-yard punt, net of 35 because it went to the end zone. That ball went in about 3 yards deep in the end zone. He just outkicked his coverage.
He outkicked his coverage. Wayne Short was the first guy down there again, the long snapper. He was trying his best to get there, but he was just about 5 yards behind that football from going in the end zone.
And Dan River's sending everything they got. They're sending 9, 10 guys, and let's give the Altavista special team some credit up front because they're giving Walker enough time to get the ball off, and the punts he's had tonight, every one of them he's been able to turn over
Yeah.
and put deep. That was a huge punt.
And certainly, if Altavista does hang on to win this, I know Coach Sharness in the pregame interview next week is going to mention those special teams and say that's a big reason why we've won. Defense ain't shabby either. They're pitching a shutout right now. Altavista leading 14-0, 9.5 minutes to play here in the football game. Dan Rivers going to put a guy in motion from the shotgun spread formation. This looks like a busted play here. Reynolds going to have to take off on his own. Run out of bounds there around the 21-yard line, so maybe a small gain. He picked his leg up to put a receiver in motion. He looked left, and the receiver from the right went in motion. So you could tell that play was not really coordinated well by the Wildcats.
No, they're going to call it a loss of 1, and Coach Shorn is starting to run some players in and get some of the kids up front. Trayvon Elliott coming out now.
Yeah, this has been a physical game, and we've talked about it, Oscar. I mean, it's pretty rare this season that the Colonel starters have played into the fourth quarter, so not to mention the fact you're playing a rugged Wildcat team. You're having to play a full 4 quarters of football. Passing play again for Dan River on second and long. Intercepted by Juan Thornhill. Tried to stay on his feet to make a return, but that is a big defensive play nonetheless. Third INT for the Colonels here on the evening, Oscar.
Yeah, and I got ready to say that with the clock running down, the Dan River Wildcats are going to have to start doing something other than run the ball, but I didn't even get the chance. It looked like that ball was going to be over Juan's head, but Juan closed quickly, recovered, and elevated, brought the ball down. When he brought the ball down, he turned. He looked like he was going to head the other direction for a second. But anyway, great play by Juan Thornhill. Colonels take over on the Dan River 40. 1st and 10, 9:26 remaining. Colonels leading 14-0.
3 interceptions on the evening for the Altavista defense, and they've all come at big times. One was at the end of the half by Mateo Malbeck. Donnie Montague intercepted a 4th and goal play. And then Juan Thornhill there on a 2nd down play. He'll hand it to Destin Brown on 1st down. Nothing there for Destin. Boy, Dan Rivers' D-line gets a lot of penetration, and that's part of the reason why Altavista struggling to move the football there. Call it 2nd and 10 now.
Well, Altavista is going to be very, very conservative here with a two possession lead, and the way that defense is played. You're not going to take any risk here, and quite frankly, if you can get the ball down inside the 25-yard line, 20-yard line, you're in Walker out field goal range. And the way he's kicked the ball tonight, that may be enough to put the Colonels out.
I would agree. Wouldn't feel bad at all having Walker kick. They will throw it out route to Michi Malbeck. Is complete 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. Races it ahead across the 30. Looks like enough for a 1st down. Great out route there. Juan again delivers a strike. Michi catches one cut back inside, then he goes back outside and just crosses the sticks there for a 1st down marker.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Great point. He knew where the 1st down marker was, crossed it, got out of bounds. You hate to see the clock stop in that situation. Michi maybe could have gone down, but hey, 1st down Colonels at the 29-yard line of Dan River. 8:43 remaining here in the ball game.
Colonels will snap this one from the far side hash mark, left hash mark. They are going left to right. Play clock is down to 5, so Juan's got to hurry. He's got a back right behind him. That's Destin Brown. Shotgun snap, waist high. He hands it to Destin Brown. Football is out. Football is out, and Dan River has recovered. That ball popped way up in the air. It was number 34, Quantez Terry, that snatched it out of the air. Thornhill ended up making the tackle. Dan River football on the turnover. First turnover of the year for the Altavista Colonels, I believe, Oscar. Wow.
At a very, very inopportune time.
Wow. That's something Altavista has been very good at, hanging on to the football. It's been a little loose a couple times tonight. That time it just popped straight up in the air. Dan River wants to take a timeout. They've got the football and a fresh set of downs coming up when you come back. 8:37 to play in the ball game. Altavista up 14-0 on 105.5 KD Country.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Altavista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Altavista. El Cazador thanks you for your business.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
14-0 is the Altavista Colonel lead. They had some momentum after the Juan Thornhill interception, but now maybe the Wildcats have taken some momentum back there. Big-time fumble by the Colonels. Quantez Terry recovers for Dan River.
First fumble of the year for the Colonels.
Yep, 1st and 10 for Dan River. Shotgun formation, spreading it out with 2 receivers to each side. Reynolds flushed out. Darius Johnson was given chase. He'll pull it down and run. Gains a solid 3 or 4 yards before running out of bounds there. Smart play by Jovian Reynolds to escape the pressure. Darius Johnson was coming fast. They only gave him, they're moving it up a little bit. They do give him 2.
Yeah, Darius was all over him on that play, and he was still able to get outside. Colonels have got to have somebody coming in from the outside to help from that other side as Darius was in pursuit of.
Shotgun formation again, 2 receivers to each side. Not spread very far out. The receiver on the near side to us is just on the hash mark. They want to roll that way. Wide side of the field. Reynolds has got to throw. Pass is caught. Diving catch over there on the left side by number 8. That is Mr. Devin Stone right there on the grab.
Brings up 3rd, and we'll call it a long 4, almost 5. And Dan River certainly trailing with 14-0 with 8 minutes, 8:10 left here in the ball game. They're in 2-down territory.
Coach Edmonds has been pretty conservative up to this point. You know, there was a 4th and 3 where we debated could they go for it. They kicked it away. I think you're right. I think if it comes up a 4th and 3 or a 4th and 2, again, they're going to go for it here as the clock is winding down. 7:50 to play. Shotgun snap here on 3rd down. Reynolds going to roll right at Grant. He is going nowhere. He is sacked by big Trayvon Elliott. Elliott wrapped him up around the shoulder pads, would not let him go, and then just dumped him to the turf there. Big-time play right there by Trayvon Elliott and the Colonels.
Big-time play, and we mentioned earlier that Coach Sharnes was getting some of the players, rotating them through. Great job of coaching, allowing Trayvon to have fresh legs and make that play.
You're right. Elliott sat out some plays earlier, and then they bring him in there, makes a big sack. Punting formation for Dan River. It's 4th and long. It's 4th and 12. Clock might be under 7 minutes when this ball is finally snapped. 7:05 on the board right now. Here comes the snap. It's a good one. Kick gets away. The kick is not very good. It'll land at the 50-yard line, bouncing towards Juan Thornhill around the 40. Juan thought about it. He thought better of it. I think he made the right decision. He didn't have many blockers in front.
He wanted it. I mean, he didn't have any blockers, and he had 4 Dan River players closing in on him. But again, Juan wanted to make a play there.
The Magic Man can disappear in a hurry sometimes.
Oh, the Magic Man and El Diablo, is that that's another reference?
Absolutely. All right, 1st and 10 for the Altavista Colonels. They'll scrimmage from the 43-yard line. 6:56 remaining in the football game. Apple Market 4th quarter. Subway postgame show is going to be a whole lot of fun. Don't know if it'll top the Subway halftime show. That was good having Hampton Maddox and John Cogsdale up here, but the way this football game is finishing up, it's going to be a lot of fun. They hand it to Michi Malback on the halfback lead play. Not a whole lot there. Michi got dragged down by a Jersey tackle, and he picks up 1 yard on the 1st down play. 2nd and 9 coming up. 6:40 remaining in the football game. Colonels lead 14-0, Oscar.
And really, the Colonels right now are playing the clock.
Agreed.
With 6:32, Dan Rivers only got 1 timeout left. Not a great job of managing the clock and using the timeouts by Coach Farrell Edmonds this half, but we'll see.
Hard to second guess him. I mean, they did call the 1 on 1st down, which is strange. Option play. Thornhill's got nothing. Blocking just was not sound up front. He's hit hard by Deshaun Robertson and dropped for a loss. Juan, again, give him credit just for hanging on to that football because there was not any room to run. Under 6 minutes to play now in the football game.
Well, that quarterback delay has not worked tonight. Dan River has scouted Altavista well, and that bread and butter play that they run 10, 12 times a ball game, they have shut it absolutely down tonight.
You're right. 3rd and 9, they said Juan got back to the line of scrimmage. That might be a little bit favorable. Colonels taking their time. Play clock under 8 now. Game clock's at 5:40. Juan Thornhill still barking out the snap count. Got to snap it here. He does just get it off. They hand it to Michi Malback. Malback full head of steam. He's across the 50. He's across the 45. Lowers his shoulder and delivers a shot as he goes out of bounds. And it's a 1st down for the Altavista Colonels. He had to get to the 47-yard line. He did that in a few yards better. Great running play right there by Michi Malback. And that one hit quick, Oscar.
Boy, it did hit quick. And that's a huge play as the Colonels now get 4 fresh downs. Again, Dan River with one timeout. We mentioned it before. Altavista, the Colonel Club, made the purchase. They've got the clocks in the end zone now, the play clocks. This is the time where it's going to pay off for the Colonels because Juan can take it right down to the second before the snap's made.
You're absolutely right. It's really benefited the Colonels there, too. They'll hand it off to Michi Malback again, this time left side. Michi going the wrong direction, now trying to turn it upfield. Run out of bounds after a 1-yard gain. The clock will stop. 4:59 to play in the football game. Colonel's up 14-0.
And we know Michi's philosophy and Vincent, he wants to make the play, but discretion's got to be the better part of valor on that. He's got to get down, knowing the clock is running, and Dan River's down by 2 possessions. He's got to get down and not take that ball out of bounds and allow the clock to run on that play.
Yeah, the ideal thing is to start thinking about getting down when you cross the numbers. It's kind of like the warning track in baseball. That way you still got a full 10 yards to work with, try and turn it upfield. Either way, it's 2nd and 10 on the way for the Colonels. They'll hand it to Destin Brown. Brown going right behind the center, and he was met hard by the Dan River D-line. It looked like Quantez Terry was there, along with number 51, Austin Cosner, on the stop. No gain again. 3rd and 10 coming up for the Colonels. 4:43. Play clock hasn't started yet, Oscar, so it just started. They're going to be able to run this down to about 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. They want to take the play clock all the way down anyway with a 14-0 lead late in the game. Why wouldn't you?
I think that's absolutely, and again, these big 25-second play clocks are huge in this situation.
More scores in the Subway postgame show, courtesy of the one, the only Bob Alvis. Got a score right here, though. Colonels leading 14-0. They're going to throw on 4th down. Complete to Nelson Dews, past the 1st down marker. What a big play right there. Colonels throwing a little bit of caution to the wind. Juan Thornhill with an excellent pass. Nelson Dews ran a great route, caught it, turned, gained 1 or 2 yards for the 1st down. That keeps the clocks moving. I tell you, Oscar, that might end up doing it now as the Colonels get a fresh set of downs with 4:08 left to play in the game.
When Juan threw that ball, that was a rope, one of the better balls he's thrown this year, and he threw it as Nelson was breaking out of his, doing his break out of his pattern, and ball was there. Nelson did a nice job securing it and making sure he knew he was in front of the 1st down marker. Huge play.
Yeah, and that's gutsy, too, with the clock winding down. 14-0 lead. 3rd down. They're going to hand it off to Destin Brown. Brown just pinballing his way through the middle. 5-yard pickup before he is stepped on by a bunch of Dan River players and dropped. Tremaine Edmonds, I think, was the first guy that brought him down. 14-0 Altavista lead here. 3:30 left to play in the ball game on 105.5 WKDE. Altavista, Lynchburg. 2nd and 5 will be the situation now for the Colonels. They're just, like you said, playing more so against the clock and playing to hang on to the football again. If you don't turn the ball over here, you probably got the victory.
And very, very businesslike at this point.
Agreed. But put Demetrius Johnson in motion. He'll go over here behind right guard. They're going to hand it off to Destin Brown again. Brown's going to try the right side. He's crossed the 25. Now the 20. He'll get tossed out of bounds, and this will stop the clock again with 2:59 left. But that's enough for a 1st down.
Destin tried to stay in bounds that time, but the Dan River player hit him, and the second player from Dan River hit him, and he wasn't able to stay in bounds.
Big pickup there. Nice blocking on the right side that time for the Colonels. 1st and 10, 2:59 remaining in the football game, 2:57. Now the clock is winding, so Destin's momentum must have been stopped before he went out of bounds. That's big for Altavista. 14-0 is the lead.
Ball back in for Brown in the backfield.
Colonels wouldn't mind scoring again. That would really put the icing on the cake and dot the I's and cross the T's on the win. Shotgun snap on the way here to Thornhill. Chest high. He keeps it himself. Going through the middle of the offense. Solid gain. Dropped. Falls forward around the 10-yard line. Maybe right on the 10, in fact. Maybe a little short of that. 12-yard line is where they'll end up spotting it. 2:20 remaining now in the Apple Market 4th quarter. So really desperation time now for Dan River. You got to believe they need to try to strip that football out. So that's about the only way they're going to come back at this point, would be to get a fumble, race it back to the end zone, and then probably got to onside kick it and get that back. And even that is hard to do. Juan looking over the defense. Again, taking his time. Play clock down to 1. He'll hand it off to Michi Malback again. Malback tries to get under the defense, but he can't. Pushed back by 3 or 4 Dan River defenders.
Yeah, and I think you'll see another conservative play. 3rd and about 4. 3rd, really a long 3. And Juan coming over to get the play from Coach Sharness. And again, Michi staying in at the running back position.
Yep.
Destin a little banged up tonight. Seen him working on his arm. I've seen him working on his shoulder.
3rd and 4, they move that stick back just a little bit. Altavista's got to get to their own 8-yard line to pick up a fresh set of downs. Then they would just take knees at that point, I believe. 1:15 left to play in the ball game. They're up 14-0. Again, they wouldn't mind getting a score right here. They'll fake it to Maulback. Thornhill's going to keep it. He's crossed the 10, driving. He's got the first down yardage. He's close anyway. Let's see where the spot ends up being. I think he's got enough from my vantage point, Oscar. Hard to say, though.
They're going to mark him. It looks like it's just a football shy. They're going to call for the chains, I think.
Yep. Don't see a lot of measurements anymore like you used to, but we will get one right here, so it'll stop the clock momentarily. 53.2 seconds left in the Apple Market fourth quarter. Colonels with the 14-0 lead. Again, if they get this first down here, they'll just be able to take 2 or 3 knees, and that'll be it.
And you know, do you kick that? Do you kick the field goal?
Good point. So that's an interesting decision. If you're short here, it would be 4th and inches. Do you line up Walker Allen?
You may line up and do the hard count, and it is a first down.
Okay.
All that goes out the window. Game, set, match. This ball game is all but over.
That is going to do it. 53.2 seconds left, but Dan River, I don't think will even bother using the timeouts. They trail 14-0. Maybe they'll use the timeouts and just, pray that there's a botched snap or something that they can take back the other way. But
you'll see Juan go up under center.
Yep.
Coach Sharness, we know his MO on this. They're gonna pack around Juan. He'll take the knee. 2 knees later, we'll have a victory for the Colonels over Dan River, the Wildcats.
Absolutely right. Juan does get it under center. Colonels got to make sure they got enough guys on that line of scrimmage. I think they did. There's the first kneel down. Clock's under 40 seconds. Man, what a big win in a close game. We predicted it was going to be close, but I think a lot of Colonel fans say, oh, yeah, you say that every time, and Altavista ends up blowing them out. No, this one was as good as advertised.
42 minutes of this ball game, it was an even match.
Yes.
The 6-minute mark in the second quarter, the end of the half, Altavista dominated at 6, getting those 2 touchdowns. But other than that, it was a heck of a ball game.
Kneel down there by Juan Thornhill is successful. Altavista is going to trot over here to the sideline. Big win tonight over the Dan River Wildcats. Colonels win 14-0. Subway postgame show on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, on the ready to keep you comfortable year-round. Locally owned and operated, just a call away, with over 20 years experience. Licensed and bonded. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, specializing in heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Any season, anytime. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Give them a call today. Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, Gretna.
Choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common. They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Virginia high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too.
Brought to you by English Construction Company, Main Street, Altavista.
Have you looked at your business banking fees lately? I'm Sean Stone with First National Bank, and we have the best business accounts which offer serious savings for your company. We have a full menu of business products from checking accounts and remote deposit capture to online banking. And we have a local merchant card representative who will customize services just for your business. So let First National Bank prepare an analysis of your current activity and show how we will reduce your banking fees. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Man, what a ball game here from Altavista High School. Colonels get the win over the Dan River Wildcats, 14-0. Toughest test that they have had this year, Oscar. And really, if you group the last 2 or 3 years, it ranks right up there, too. What a ball game. And you mentioned it as we saw Dan River walking away. Dan River's hurting a little bit, too, but I tell you, the Wildcats, tip your cap. They gave as good as they got tonight.
Boy, they did. This was a physical ball game in the trenches. The athlete, the skill positions, there was a lot of hard hitting going on there as well. Well played high school football game. Yeah. Great to see. No cheap shots, no taunting, none of that nonsense. Just good hard-nosed football. And as we look down, you look at Tremaine Edmonds. That's your benchmark right there. He looks like he's a 70-year-old man. He is just hurting. What a great ball game.
Fun one to watch. I tell you, it was the WSCT game of the week, so tune in to Football Friday for that. See some highlights for this. You might even see Oscar's beautiful face on there. He's the better looking of the two of us. Just ask the Surfside Beach South Carolina gang on that one. But, yeah, definitely tune in. Check out some highlights for this one. And lived up to the billing, like we said. 14-0 is the Colonel win. Timeout here on the Subway postgame show. Then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. Colonels with a big victory over Dan River. 14-0. You heard it all live on 105.5 KD Country.
Our thanks to these members of the KD Country Sports Club.
El Cerrito in Altavista. Throw on a sombrero. Shake your maracas. It's El Cerrito time. Authentic Mexican cuisine only at El Cerrito.
Robertson Auto Sales, Lynchburg. Dealers with a passion for great quality pre-owned vehicles. We love cars and trucks, and it shows in our inventory.
Aubrey Rosser, attorney at law, going above and beyond the courtroom. Your choice for any and all legal advice. Serving Altavista, Lynchburg, and Roanoke areas.
One Stop Mart, Main Street Altavista, where the gas is cheap, beverages are cold, and the chicken is kicking.
Mad Biddy's Antiques, 105 Wood Lane, just off of Main Street. Come find what you didn't know you were looking for.
Dairy Freeze, serving ice cream, yogurt, fries, hamburger, hot dogs, and fresh chili since 1961 from their Main Street location.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass, I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Oh, Subway postgame show. We are having such a fun time. And you always have a fun time with Subway. Now it's your chance to win with Subway. And you get the code word of the night. I'm going to give it to you right now. The code word for the night, Oscar, is punt. We saw a lot of good ones tonight. Punt is the word that you need to post to the KD Country Facebook page. First person that does it will win a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subways in Altavista. Again, the code word is punt, P-U-N-T. And, boy, while we sort that out, let's talk about some of those punts, shall we? Walker Allen, I mean, what an incredible weapon. We've talked about him with the kickoffs a lot. According to my records, these are the numbers that I was going to give you, Jimmy Monday. I know you're out there somewhere. Walker with 11 touchbacks on the year. He's kicking an 89% point-after percentage, and that went up tonight because he made both of those. So that might be around 90% now, or maybe even 91%. 3 or 4 on field goals. And here's the thing. He doesn't have a chance to punt that much, but he did tonight, and he really, really made the most of it.
Well, he did, and a couple of those extra points that he missed were early in the year. I think, actually, Prince Edward, he missed 2. So, boy, what a weapon he's turned into. And again, what a ball game tonight.
Fun game. And defensively, I mean, let me first, we're going to get to the Highview post-game highlight here in just 1 second, courtesy of Highview Motors GMC in Altavista. Walker Allen walking over here to the sideline here, tipping his cap a little bit to the fans. And again, he deserves it. It was the defensive unit, and then it was also Walker with the big punts. Giving that defense a chance to work, giving them some field to work with and making it so, hey, we don't have to stop them on the first 3 plays. We can give up a few first downs here. We can do the bend but don't break thing because Walker Allen's leg has given us the necessary field position. Let's not forget Wayne Short, too. I mean, he was down there covering those kicks. The snaps were good, too. The whole unit.
3 big punts in the second half that essentially flipped the field or the one was at the 55-yarder.
Yeah.
That was 2 yards away from being having Dan River pinned deep.
Right.
Again, it was able to. It looked like Altavista was going to have the field flipped on them, and due to those punts, it just didn't happen. And like you said, gave that defense room to do the old Altavista bend, but not break. And really, I hadn't seen the stats. It'll be interesting to see how they turn out. But there wasn't even a lot of bending in the second half for the Colonels.
You're right. It was bend but don't break in the first half. In the second half, it was more just pure domination. And there was some interceptions again from the Altavista defense there. They've piled up, Oscar, 14 INTs on the year already. I have a feeling maybe one of those is going to be included in the Highview highlights.
Well, in conventional wisdom is that, again, we talked about that Altavista is not that strong. They got athletes, they're quick, and their defense just is so stifling. You can't run on them. Dan River had success running, but run, and then Altavista gets a point where they stop you, and you end up with third and long, and then you try to throw the ball, and you got Thornhill, you got the Brothers Johnson coming at you, you got Malbeck brothers in the backfield.
Yeah.
You just got so many playmakers that do so well in coverage and reading the quarterback, and the quarterback doesn't have any time to make a decision, has to react, put the ball in the air because he's got Dante Poindexter, Elliott, the Brothers Johnson, all closing in on him. It's just a complete package for the Colonels defensively, and to shut out this Dan River team 14-0 is huge.
Very impressive. This is a Altavista defense that has only given up 20 points on the year. This is their third shutout of the night, and they've scored 36 points. They've returned 6 interceptions for touchdowns, so they're scoring more points than they're giving up. That's darn impressive. Excuse me. And what is always impressive, the Highview highlights. Here they are, courtesy of Highview Motors, GMC, from small to tall. Highview has it all. Take it away. 2 backs behind the quarterback. 4th and goal on the way. They're going to pass it this time. Reynolds looking in the end zone, throws it, intercepted. It is intercepted by Donovan Montague on the 4-yard line. He gets it out to the 6.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in and bring the family. See your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Perkins Tire and Auto Service in Chatham. And we do mean service, because Perkins Tire will pick up and deliver your vehicle. Call Perkins Tire in Chatham, 434-432-1100, 432-1100. Whether you need brand name tires or service, call Calvin, Stanley, or Frankie at Perkins Tire and Service Center on Highway 29 in Tight Squeeze, just south of Chatham. Perkins Tire and Service Center, your authorized Michelin tire dealer.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
14-0, Colonels get the win over the Dan River Wildcats. Another outstanding game between these two. We talked about, Oscar, football, basketball. Suit these guys up for a game of horseshoes or something. It's probably going to be pretty competitive and
and you talk about competitive, and we talk about Altavista shutting Gretna. I'm still in last week, shutting Dan River down. You got to look back and the touchdown that was called back against Dan River. If again on that illegal procedure that none of us in the press box saw the flag down until all the squaring off and jawing took place. If that touchdown stands, it's 14-7, and it's a whole nother ball game. It totally changes the dynamics of this game, and you never know. A one-possession game is such difference than trailing by 7.
You're right, and it was an interesting play. It was an interesting exchange. Gretna, you did it to me. I'm thinking last week. Dan River, had the ball on the 5. They inched it a little bit closer. They inched it closer on 3rd down, and ended up being 4th and 1. Dan River lined up. They got in the end zone, off-tackle play with Curtis Stevens, and then a bunch of flags came out. 3 or 4 flags came out. One official threw his hat because he had already thrown his flag. And there was a little bit of extracurriculars in the end zone. Nothing crazy, but maybe it was just a celebration type of a thing is what we were thinking, right, guys? Jawing back and forth at each other. Maybe a little bit of taunting is what we thought based on the flags coming out after the touchdown. They sort it all out, and the referee gives a false start signal, a legal procedure on the offense, and we were all baffled up here in the press box because normally, again, that flag comes out when the play starts or right before the play starts. The whistles blow it dead. There's none of this stuff afterwards with 3 or 4. One official throws a flag on a false start, not 3 or 4. So that was definitely, and like you said, Oscar, it would have made it 14-6, possibly 14-7. Hey, maybe even 14-8. You never know if they go for 2. Then that definitely changed the dynamic of the game. But that's part of the game. No instant replay on this at this level. And I think we've said enough to take another break. How about that? We'll come back. More Subway post-game show on the way. Don't you go changing. We'll wrap it up. Players of the game. Tell you a little bit more about this one. Tell you about next week. Man, it's a great time here. And it's all live on 105.5 KD Country.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway postgame show returns. I'm Kyle Haney. He's Agent Zero, Oscar Briggs. We're having a great time. How about Trevor Robertson getting a big win on the Win with Subway promotion? You and I both know Trevor. He's a... I'm not going to call him a gentleman, but I'm going to call him a great guy. No, I'm just kidding about that.
Great guy, married to a great girl, and him and his wife, Megan, and congratulations to Trevor.
Good stuff there. He said he listens a lot, listens to basketball, listens to football. He's an Altavista fan. We know all you people out there. Well, not all of you. We know we got some other fans tuning in, and we thank you for that. But it's nice to be a Colonel fan right now. Nice to be a Colonel fan in this game, Oscar. Let's try and wrap it up here and maybe move on to next week a little bit. Again, recapping the scoring is pretty simple. Juan Thornhill with a 16-yard touchdown run where he leapt over Demetrius Johnson and a defender to get in the end zone. And then he had a 2-yard touchdown run as well. 3 interceptions on the night for the Colonels, and the Colonels' defense, all they did was pitch another shutout, 3rd one of the season. They seem to get stronger and better as this season goes on. Time for the player of the game situation here. Of course, it's brought to you by Chris Owen, your Allstate agent. If you ever listen online or with the TuneIn app, you can thank Chris Owen for that. Live internet broadcast at kdcountry.com is brought to you by Chris Owen, your Allstate agent. You're always in good hands. I'll go first. I'll make it easy for you. For the Dan River Wildcats, I think you might be leaning in the same direction, although there's certainly some guys to choose from. I'm going to go with Q Stevens. He ran the ball great. He really did.
Well, he did, and he was a workhorse. I don't know how many carries he ended up with tonight. Did a good job distributing the ball. Threw a couple of nice balls. It's hard to argue with that one, but just in the situation, I want to be a little bit different and contrary. I'm going to go with Zamora Anderson. Zamora anchored that defense. Really did a lot of spying on Juan to shadow him and spy on him and keep that little quarterback delay from being run. And so for me, Zamora Anderson.
Just a sophomore too, Zamora Anderson. So he's going to be a headache for opposing offenses.
Wow,
that's a tough.
Good choice.
Yeah, absolutely tough customer. On the other side for the Altavista Colonels, a lot of people to choose from, but I've just got to go Walker Allen. I mean, 14-0 makes the extra points. He had 2 touchbacks in this one, and then the punts. I mean, just knocking it away time after time. And under pressure, too. There was sometimes he had a heavy rush coming, and he got to kick away and put it where it needed to be, help the defense out in a big way.
Turn the ball over on those punts, and again, that's a great choice. We talked about it in the break, which we generally don't do. We generally try to shock or surprise each other. I'm going to go a little bit different way. For me, it looked like every time that Dan River got into a situation and they started moving the ball and he got into a 3rd down situation, Dante Poindexter stepped up and was able to make a play. He wasn't always involved in the tackle, but in some shape, form, or fashion, he was there to blow it up and either knock somebody into the ball carrier, which he did a couple of times, or really just disrupt the whole offensive line, the scheme, and allow the brothers Johnson, we called them all night long. Great game. Donnie Montague, just such a great effort by the defense. But for me, Dante was the anchor tonight and really was the one that secured that defense for him.
Nah, that's a great point. I mean, it was like with Dante Poindexter, even when he wasn't making tackles, he was making plays. You know, he was allowing somebody else to make the play, and that was huge. Somebody that always makes the play for us, Eleanor Haney, back at home base. Solid stuff. And let me say it again. Be sure you tune in tomorrow for the Honky Tonk Jukebox, brand new music program on 105.5 KD Country, where the Sugar Daddy dusts off all the vinyl. He's going to play the songs that you never hear anymore. He even gets into the stories and stuff behind the songs, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. on KD Country, the Honky Tonk Jukebox, talking about the queens of country music this week and next week. So that's always fun. The other people that are playmakers for us, well, they're our sponsors, Highview Motors GMC. From small to tall, Highview has it all. Apple Auto Glass, get a free car wash when you have a new windshield installed. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, your authorized train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Perkins Tire and Auto Service, Highway 29, Chatham. Call for free pickup and delivery. English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. First National Bank, focused on providing an extraordinary customer experience. Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving family since 1905. Apple Markets, check out the weekly specials at all area locations. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place for family and friends to dine. English Building Supply, featuring a $15 rebate on Pella storm doors. And our proud provider of our seating arrangements here tonight. Also, big thanks to Mr. Stinnett for that. Again, Tyree Little's Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer, warm in the winter, comfortable in between. Winter is on the way, don't you know? And Fellers Chevrolet, a short drive will save you money. Online at fellersdirect.com. And, of course, they sponsor the YouTube rebroadcast. Go listen to this one or any of the other Colonel games anytime you want at the KD Country YouTube page. Just follow the link from kdcountry.com. Of course, once again, football fans are always in good hands with Allstate agent Chris Owen. Big thanks to him for our streaming online broadcast. This is the Subway post-game show. Colonel's headed up to Lovingston next week. Oscar taking on the Nelson County Governors. Always a fun trip up there, and I'm sure Colonel fans will have a great time. If you can't make it up there, you can always tune in to us online at kdcountry.com or live on 105.5 KD Country.